Ah, perfect. Just the person I need to see. Firstly, loving the outfit, by the way. Really suits your hair. Secondly, the universe is falling apart. I don't have much time to yet. I need to shoot off. I need to do something. But by all means, this is imperative. Watch Type 40. The Type 40 podcast is where you need to be. Seguida!
It's time for Type 40 Live. We materialise again here with the live stream Doctor Who magazine show, riding across your view screen here in real time on Rumble, X, YouTube and on Facebook too. And we're in front of a live chat full of fellow friends, fans and companions just like you, celebrating the series and the Doctors, the companions, the monsters, as it all approaches its 61st anniversary. I know, another one already. How time flies, how Time Lords, they fly too, and so does she. Yes, because the wind is up and the temperature is down, way down, by the look of that. And whilst Doctor Who legends, past and present, have been swinging into action to meet the fans, my God, all this and more to talk about on this Type 40 Live. I'm Dan Hadley, Birmingham's King of the Geeks. We'll find out who you are in a moment or two, but I do know one thing. You're watching on either YouTube, Rumble, X, or on Facebook in the Type 40 Facebook group, or you Facebook groupers, hit that little blue link, please remember, or we'll never know who you are, will we? And we do like a bit of mystery in Doctor Who, but not there in the live chat. We need to know who everybody is to get all those comments up on the screen. The more, the merrier, and all that. What have we got to get into today? The past, the present, and the future of Doctor Who, as ever. And we're in sight of another Doctor Who Day, aren't we? So I figured we should, with it getting definitely colder out there, we should do something and go somewhere that befits this particular occasion and this sweet spot in time and space. How about here? It's a little bit dirty. There's a bit of muck on the floor, but I don't think anybody will notice. Well, she might notice. She notices a lot of things, notices most things that I don't, certainly. But then again, a lot of people do. Don't they, Charlotte?
It depends what it is.
Well, you're very good with plot holes. I'm awful at spotting those.
Yeah, just don't ask me to name a character. Usually that's when I completely trip up, unless it's an obvious name.
The guy, the girl, the this, the that, the other. Oh, tell you what, it's gone parky, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely now your coat and winter weather.
Ooh, all laid up. It'll be the woolly hats soon. Yeah, people always know when it's getting serious because say Dan's broken out the beanies. None of them are ever beanies. They're actual proper woolly hats. I always go to the full heft. I don't mess around with beanies here. But yeah, do you recognise this particular TARDIS console room there, Charlotte?
Is it from an adventure in time and space? I think that looks more like that than actual TARDIS.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's so many little things to spot in this. Every time I look at it, I notice another bit of set dressing, not just from the actual set from the original show, but little things they've done here and there. For example, when I was at school, and once or twice a week sometimes, if we were lucky, they'd wheel in a television for us to watch something, a school's program, and it would tend to be on a little trolley, just like the CRT is there towards the back of the shot. So that brings back some nice memories.
I can remember when I was at school, it wasn't a tiny sort of wheelie thing, but it was in some sort of case. It would still be wheeled in a TV for like, here's a terrible science video about a topic which bored you to death and you watched it. That's what we had.
Were they under lock and key in your school? Is it that rough?
Oh yeah, definitely. Where I live, it's dead rough around me.
Oh dear. Okay, let's bring on the rest of them. Who have we got? Blimey, he doesn't half look parky there. Now, Anthony looks more like a football manager stood on the touchline there, coaching the team, shouting the team on, like you used to see like Brian Clough and people like that.
Oh, my goodness, what has happened to the weather? It is absolutely freezing. So I reached for my Doctor Who scarf, but I found this one instead. So I'm ready for the winter. It is freezing this evening, my goodness.
There is an argument, Anthony, that says in the hands of a Doctor Who fan, any scarf is a Doctor Who scarf. That's what I say. Anyway, I love the poster behind you on the wall with the White Christmas movie poster too. I just keep mixing that up. Yeah, I've been meaning to do that with my Back to the Future, but I'm too lazy. I'm too indecisive too. It took me about a year to decide on that. What I really need, I think, is my very own nerd den, where I've got an array of posters that I can just reach down at any given time. I haven't got a nerd den. It's more a man cave, really, but I know somebody who has, and I'm happy to say that he's back with us for this edition of the show after a few weeks away. He's been busy doing adult things, been doing responsible things. And now he's back to lock about with us. It's our mate Jack from the Nerd Den.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be back, finally.
Yeah, it has been a big few weeks for you, hasn't it? But yeah, it's great to have you back, mate. And we know you've got a couple of tales to tell. So how have you been?
Yeah, I've been okay. Just ticking on, getting on with life. Counting down the days till Christmas. That
what?
whole thing. Yeah, I know.
It is creeping up. It is definitely creeping up, isn't it? So what would you make of this then? The old studio floor from, well, it's not actually from 1963, but it's meant to be from 1963. This conjure up any memories for you there?
Oh, certainly brings me back to feeling excited about Doctor Who, the 50th anniversary year, all the one-off special programs we were getting, the lead up to Day of the Doctor, the minisodes. Just so much bloody good memories. And then obviously, this recreation of the original TARDIS console was, it's phenomenal.
It's incredible what they can do, isn't it? Raiding the prop store, Anthony, I suppose that's how they do that, isn't it? To get everything if they can't get the actual things that were there at the time, they can get as near as damn it to recreate the time and conjure up some of the magic of what it was like to create television back in the early 60s.
Definitely. Looks beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. As I say, I keep noticing little things here and there, and the little bits of crap that are on the studio floor. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Okay, so it's not just us. This time I'm happy to welcome our guest for the evening. Now, this guy, when we bumped into him last, he was in a state of disarray. So when I suggested that perhaps we ought to reconnect at some point in the future, and he can tell us something about his projects, because I could do that. I could tell you all about SinScope, couldn't I? Or I could try. But I think it would be a lot easier if Luke Walters from SinScope did that for himself. Hiya, Luke.
Yeah, you all right?
Not too bad, thank you, my friend.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, less hungover this time, so fantastic.
It's good to have you on the show. And you are in a correct Doctor Who scarf, Anthony. Look at this, teaching us how it's done.
I found one that my girlfriend made me. So
very nice. Is it accurate colours? Did you put a request in for a particular season? Let's have a closer look. What's he got on?
She overshot it. Bless her. I know she's watching it. She overshot it. It was supposed to be 18 foot. It's currently 24 foot. She thought it'd go longer than shorter, just to be on the safe side. So yeah, it's currently six of me or 4 of me or 6 of me. Yeah. So. Yeah, no, bless her. I'm trying to get her to make a season 18 scarf for me now to no avail, but this one took long enough, bless her.
Well, yeah, there's plenty of time, isn't there? You've got to find out if she's a keeper or not, haven't you? That's what it
she's
is.
great, bless her. She's fantastic. She's absolutely fantastic, bless her.
Very impressive with the knitting skills. So tell us, what is SinScope all about then, and where might people have seen the name or the logo before?
So SinScope, we're a small independent production company based up in Manchester. We used to be based in Cardiff, but now we moved up to Manchester because I moved to Manchester. We produce like short form content. So we recently completed the festival circuit with I Made War of the Worlds, starring Mr. Jonathan Carley, the War Doctor. Oh, that was very good time in that. Fair play. That was very, very good.
It's not my first barbecue, mate.
So we just did I Made War of the Worlds. That finished the festival circuit. It won 21 awards around the world.
21?
We just, so it's done
Wow.
well, actually. So now we made the sequel to it. So we're currently working, that's currently out, is doing the festival circuit as well. We just come back from Ireland. That's called I Made the Time Machine, because we're currently doing a H.G. Wells kind of vibe to go with it. Again, John Carley's in that, playing a time-traveling H.G. Wells that wears tweed and a bow tie. And he has a mustache. So that's the very obvious...
Yeah,
John Carley and a
it was a great fight. I've met Jonathan a couple of times. It can't have been a big fight to get him into a waistcoat and tweed or a cravat.
I think the mustache was a harder pull than getting him into the tweed. Basically, I'm getting him to play, trying to get him to play the Doctor. So see how far I can push it before Big Finish and BBC send me a
before
cease and
they
desist.
intervene.
Yeah,
before they send
much,
the floating man in the bowler hat to appear in midair.
Time Machine borders it very, 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 very closely. But yeah, so we finished that. And then last year, I think I had a meeting with, I had a meeting with BBC Wales, and we had a little bit of a chat. And because I used to produce short form comedy content for them, and all my friends I hang out with, they're all big Doctor Who fans. You can see Matt Smith peeking over my head there.
I thought he looked familiar.
Yeah.
Seen that guy
always
before.
there. It's really unnerving because David Tennant's on the other side. So yeah, we decided to make this little comedy sketch about these two characters that are trying to hunt down David Tennant to get his autograph for the 60th anniversary.
Hunt down David Tennant? That's not going to be very hard. He's on telly every night of the frigging week.
Yeah, I know. He's everywhere, bless him. So,
just hit the TV studios in rotation. He's better be doing something at some point.
Yeah, pretty much. Busy guy. But yeah, so we produced this one little short sketch, only about 10 minutes. I don't know who the guy is under the bag, though. No one knows who he is. Doing the voice of David Tennant. No one knows for legal reasons. I cannot say. But no, it does not include digital animators. Sorry, I just read a comment. So we did that, and the boys bounced off each other really well, and we kind of was like, oh, maybe there's something in this little like sitcom-y thing to do with Doctor Who. So we kind of bounced it around for a while, and then we come up with the series called Hooligans, which features the same two boys. And it's two Doctor Who fans living together, and it's a pretty mad one, to be honest. We just released the trailer, and it looks it takes a little couple of pot shots.
The series itself launches in a couple of days, doesn't it, on Doctor Who Day itself?
Yeah, very very apt. Yeah, so it launches November 23rd, 7:00. So again, not Doctor Who on a Saturday at 7 p.m. So there we go. Yeah, it's a bit of fun. It's 6 episodes. So I think
sounds like a lot of fun. And everybody who's watching out there on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X, if you stick with us a little later on, we won't have to talk about it so much. We're going to show you the trailer as well and talk a little bit more about that, and maybe get some more of the inside on I Made War of the Worlds and the Time Machine as well, because it all sounds fascinating, and there's a huge Doctor Who sort of crossover interest here, I think, not just because Jonathan's in it, but because I think the tone, the flavour of everything that you're doing at CinScope has that kind of Doctor Who, I won't say tongue-in-cheek, but a certain sensibility that I associate with Doctor Who myself. So see what everybody else out there thinks as well. The docudrama, believe it or not, aired exactly 11 years ago this evening. So that's where we've seen this particular TARDIS console before. 21st of November 2013 on BBC Two in HD, written by Mark Gatiss, of course. Many memories of watching that, Luke?
Oh, yeah. I was in uni at the time, 10 years ago, so that was actually terrifying for me. to think back. Yeah, no, I watched this. So I was down living in Southampton, and I remember it first coming on, and I watched it in my little halls of residence room in Lucy Foster Welsh, and I was like, this is amazing. This is absolutely incredible. I thought the casting was spot on. Really glad they brought David Bradley back in to play one as well. Yeah, I was just in awe of it. I thought this was fantastic. I thought it was probably one of the better things Mark Gatiss has ever wrote, especially to do with Doctor Who. Yeah, no, I absolutely loved it. Very
we
fond
notice,
memories
Charlotte,
of the time.
whoever we bring onto this show, there's always a diss against Mark Gatiss at some point.
I think it's because he's written so much now that everybody's got the favourite stories and the ones they don't like now.
I think it is.
And he can go from really horror to really silly. And I think that sort of is people's cup of tea, or it isn't with Gatiss.
Yeah, runs the gamut, doesn't it?
Really
Any take on Mark Gatiss, Anthony?
Only to agree with Luke, really, that I loved this when it went out because, to be able to see black and white Doctor Who in colour, there was a certain appeal about that. And as a celebratory programme to celebrate 50 years of Doctor Who, it was great to watch. I thought it was well cast. I thought David Bradley was great. And then the recreation of some of those scenes, again, as I say, that was originally shot in black and white, and then to be inserted into the drama, I thought was great. I was at the XL, I think, for the 50th anniversary event in London at the time that this went out. So I remember, going out for drinks and then scooting back to watch this, a bit like old style Doctor Who, running back home to watch the Adventures in Space and Time. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. And I watch it often, in fact. Well, not often, but I've watched it more often than maybe some newer Doctor Who because of the nostalgia element of this particular production. I thought it was so well cast. I thought it was great.
I don't go back to it very often, Jack. I think it's almost as if it's so special that I feel that if I handle it too much, I might break it.
Yeah, I can relate to that one. It's one that I actually haven't rewatched a lot. I think maybe 2 or 3 times I've watched it. I think the last time I watched it when they redid it for last year when they changed it from matte to shooty for that particular scene. But
some people didn't like that.
Yeah, some people didn't like that. Yeah. We
had several comments about that at the time, but of course it was Mark Gatiss's original intention, wasn't it, for it to do that, for it to sort of get revised as time went on. He wanted it to be kind of evergreen. That's the expression, isn't it, Charlotte? Evergreen content.
Yeah, because the idea was he was looking to the future of the show. So at the time it was matte when it was made, and currently it's shooty. But I can get why people were not happy because I think people know me, I'm a Matt fan. So I think if Matt's your Doctor, it sort of felt jarring for him not to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a very heady time, the 50th anniversary, and it meant a lot to a lot of people, didn't it? Not least of which was the reappearance of this guy. And I wanted to talk a little bit about William Russell. There he is. There, as he was in Adventure in Space and Time back in 2013. I wanted to mention William Russell because this week would have been his 100th birthday. Obviously, I think we know William Russell. His real name was Russell Enoch. Passed away earlier this year, so just 5 months shy of his 100th birthday. And even though he's no longer with us, it sort of feels like he still is. And getting to this anniversary, I feel my thoughts are very much with him as this being the first big Doctor Who anniversary without him. Anthony, did you ever meet William Russell?
Yeah, I did on quite a few occasions, actually. He was, when I was working alongside the Doctor Who Appreciation Society, we were also working alongside the Comic Heritage Foundation, laying blue plaques posthumously for actors in Doctor Who. And we did a couple at BBC Television Centre for the first 3 Doctors. And William Russell was always a good supporter of Comic Heritage and the Heritage Foundation. And so he would turn up to lots of their dinners and parties and drinks that they would organize, charity functions, in fact. And so he was always available to chat to. And it was quite nice to see him away from Doctor Who conventions, but in a kind of different context, of which, you know, his film and television credits are legion, aren't they? They're incredible, you know, just away from Doctor Who. So he was being celebrated in a kind of televisual way or a film way through the Heritage Foundation, which was great. So did see him at conventions. He was one of the later scores for me, really, in terms of my big companion tick list that I was going through at conventions.
You got a tick list. Why am I surprised? You got a tick list? Of course he has.
Of course I have. But in the 80s and 90s, he was one of the later companions to actually come to conventions and be part of that, to my knowledge. Yeah,
did you ever get to meet him, Luke? Are you the kind of who goes and meets these actors and things? Or is it a case of if you bump into them, you bump into them?
Well, I bumped into loads of them in Cardiff just walking around, actually. I
can imagine.
The first time I ever met Matt Smith, I think was, I think they were doing the Children of
Greg's.
I know it wasn't in Greg's, actually. It was just outside Tesco. So they were doing the Children of Earth DVD screening. So they flew John Barrowman, Eve Miles and Gareth into Cardiff Bay via helicopter, whisked them off to HMV. Me and the boys were just down the bay, and I was like, Matt Smith had been. This was at the time when Series 5 was just being shot. So I was like, look, you never know. You know, Matt Smith might be around here. And as I said that, he was looking at me, and I was like, there he is. I was like, fantastic. And there I am in full Captain Jack regalia. So I was like, oh, well, cool. But no, I haven't done conventions a lot, to be honest. I think I did one a couple of years ago at the Doctor Who Museum up in Blackpool when I was still kicking around. And I think one of the more recent ones I did was Hooverville, actually. I haven't done a lot of them, but no, William Russell, what a legend. Like, what an absolute legend. So, yeah.
Sadly missed Jack. Obviously, you know, we said last time when we covered his untimely passing, he'd lived a long life, hadn't he? As Anthony said, a very long, illustrious and fun career. He's got a devoted family, very happy family life. So you think, well, how sad can one be for a man who lived so fully? But he was part of this family, wasn't he, Jack? And now he's no longer with us. We're entitled to miss him, aren't we?
Yeah, of course. And, you know, it's the same with anyone else that's part of, like, the Who family when they pass, because, you know, they've been part of us growing up. And obviously with William Russell, he was there from the beginning. Like, without him and you know, the rest of the gang, we wouldn't have had Doctor Who today. And that's something to, you know, to remember. Without those two schools teachers stumbling across that TARDIS in the junkyard, we wouldn't be here today talking about Doctor Who. And William Russell helped bring that to life. So, you know, him playing Ian was just incredible.
It just seemed right in the week of what would have been his 100th birthday that we honour William Russell. So, let us have your comments there in the live chat. If you are fortunate enough to meet him, if you've been thinking of him, as we have here, you let us know. Yes, because believe it or not, as we've been rambling on for the last 20 minutes, people have been listening and watching and commenting too. So we're going to go and check in with them and see what they've got to say about all of this, and see if they've got something to say that's perhaps a little bit more insightful than all of this nonsense.
Hi guys, and welcome to Type 40.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us so far, and all these fabulous messages that we've got to work our way through. There's lots of names I recognise and a few that I don't as well, which is always good. Welcome, everybody, on whatever platform. Who was here first? I think it was our mate, Charlotte. I think it was Crimpling the Balloon. I'm sure I did. Yeah. Oh, the Seaman's greeting. Oh, no, that sounds
probably a very bad version of it, but I tried.
Yeah. Evening all, says Simon Ashley. And we've got Vanessa in the live chat as well. Or we did have. I have to make an emergency trip to the store so I might not be able to chat today. I will be listening. All these bloody excuses, Anthony. Safe trip, Vanessa. Drive carefully. Walk carefully. I don't know. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. Peter Harrington says, good evening. The weather outside is frightful, but being on Type 40 is delightful. Oh, bless your heart.
Christmas puns already.
It's getting up there, isn't it? Domgo says, evening all, and claps his hands. Very demanding. That's fine. And Stephen Braddock's back too and says, hi, all at Type 40. It's freezing outside, but I've got tonight's show to keep me cosy and warm inside. And we slip down like a mug of cocoa, don't we, Steve? What a frightening thought. Cold enough for you all? Asks Simon Ashley. It's getting there.
Yeah.
It's getting there.
Yeah.
Peter says it's Baltic, as we say. Brass monkeys seen in Tesco's, says Peter. Peter's in Manchester as well, aren't you, Peter? I'm pretty sure he's in Manchester.
Big up.
Oh, he's used to then cold and wet weather. Come on.
Woodhouse 122
says, and I'm used to it. So.
Woodhouse 122 says it's cold in Sheffield. It's always cold in Sheffield, isn't it? Even in the middle of summer, it's all those hills. I think it is. Yeah. We have Tom from T-Dwarf Productions is back too, who says, hello everyone, today is the last day of Scorpio. There are scorpion monsters in Doctor Who, such as the Lazarus and the Skithra. Thank you, Tom. Thank you. Keep the facts coming, by all means. Eggsy Trek Jedi is here too. Hello from the US. Or is that hello from us? No, from us, back to the US. From the US to the US. I'm getting confused already, Anthony. Blimey. And we've got hello chat from Michael Q2. Evening punters, says Matthew Butterfield. And I think I've spotted there's one here. Nicholas Horton. No, Simon Horton, but we have got a Nicholas Horton, which is always, it's always good to have a Horton around to some degree or another, isn't it? Yes, it is. Don't need to think about it. It is. He's going to kill me. Greets all, says problem being there in the live chat fabulously. And we've got Rob Alexander's in too. Did I see Rob? We've got an ahoy all from Richard. It's colder here than a welcome to the old France from Russell T. Davis shooting hour. Oh dear. And we've got hi from Chris McKeon too at Black Glove Studios. Hi, how you doing, Chris? I've been meaning to message Chris back for a little while. Time flies, Chris. Hope you're well. Who else is here? I think that's we're catching up very, very slowly, Jack. Very, very slowly. Retro Doc's here too. Thank heaven for that. Always rely on Gary. And and this is, Heretic's here too. Hi everyone, it's my birthday tomorrow. I'm supposed to be out for the weekend celebrating, but not feeling 100%. I should be fine. So I'm in bed, resting to sleep it off. Well, get well soon. We hope you get well soon and enjoy your birthday, don't we, everyone?
Yes, have some fun tomorrow.
Yeah.
See if you can salvage what's left of the weekend. Kess the drone's in and suggests that we don't watch that. Watch this. Is that what this is? Kess the drone says Roger Delgado is in the Zoo Gang on Rewind TV. Yeah, well, you can rewind that. You can Sky Plus that or TiVo it or whatever. And you can stay with us for the time being. You know, Roger's not going anywhere. Bless him. He's been brown bread for quite a long time now. You can watch that whenever you can. Thanks for that, Kess. Nice scarf, says Darren Bradley. I suspect, is that to Anthony or is it to Luke? Or is it just generally?
It's general
greetings.
Fully general.
Yeah. All scarves are fine by Darren. I've no doubt about that. And we've got some hello Jacks. People, glad to see you back on the panel, Jack.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for all of these comments. And, get yourselves warm, for heaven's sake. Rose is in too. She's got all caps, she's serious. Hello, world. It's philosophy and TV day. Time for tea. It's always time for tea, particularly this time of year. And we've got hello, Luke, from Domgo. And with Matt, the silent Wii Music King, is also in the chat. And relationship advice there from I love the Grogu duvet, Jack. Blimey, somebody's got keen eyesight.
Yeah,
Domgo
has Star Wars fan as well.
I assumed those round things. I thought that was maybe a half-eaten lunch or something.
Oh no, there's never half-eaten lunch when I'm about. Fully eaten.
Good man, good man. Witty little knitter says Darren Bradley. And we've got Christopher Lewis too back in the live chat. He says, I've missed Anthony for the last 2 weeks. It's good to see him back. Does it feel good to be missed, Anthony?
It feels good to be missed, and it's good to be back. I have missed you all in the last couple of weeks, so it's great to be back and talking about Doctor Who. Although I have been doing some Doctor Who type things.
He's been, you've been away on manoeuvres, hanging around with this bunch of. Now, there's a couple of people here I do recognise. That's you on the far left, isn't it? And the gentleman sat in front of you, I know him, and the guy next to him, I definitely know him, and there's a few others as well. I mean, I wonder if can you let slip where you were going? I mean, because that's you, isn't it? There you are. There's Anthony.
It is. It is. That is me, bearded me, less bearded now. So that was last week. I went to London. It was Tuesday that this particular thing was recorded. I'm hesitant to say at the moment quite what all this was about, because this is definitely Ian's project. But as you can see, Ian is in the front and John Leeson is next to him, and I'm not far behind. So it was a recording of, if you carefully look onto the table, it was a recording of a Doctor Who script that wasn't used. It was just the audio recording. You will find out who John Leeson was playing, I'm sure, nearer to the time. But I think Ian's intention is to take the audio recordings that were made on that last Tuesday, and then AI create the characters that were supposed to be in this script.
I see. Oh God, I can't wait to find out where this is going and what this is.
Well, it was it was quite intimidating from my point of view, Dan, because I just could talk a lot probably, and I'm not an actor. And obviously that gentleman next to Ian Levine is an actor and was the voice of K9. So to be in a performance with him was a little bit kind of daunting. But as the day went on, we got there at midday and we were all done by about 7 o'clock in the evening. So it was a 7-hour recording. And there are some great performances in this, I have to say.
Do you just play? Okay, if we can't find out exactly what it is, how many roles did Ian get you to play? Was it 1 or 2, or did you have to play multiple roles?
Well, Ian said, come along, and I'll get you to read some things in when you get there. So I had read the script dutifully on the train on the way up, and I'd read it. And there's some talking points, I think, around that script and why perhaps it wasn't made. However, I read the script and I didn't expect, I had no expectation.
I love getting him to dance between the cracks in the pavement here, Charlotte. Before we won't have you give the game away. You can relax, but I can't wait to find out more about this project. Knowing Ian, it's going to get a lot of attention.
Oh, for sure, because this is a project that wasn't made and then suddenly is being created. I can't wait to see the AI me. There's a scene. I hope I look like me and not like some other AI creations. But there is a scene where the Doctor and his companions are put into what can only be described as a boiling pot, and they're about to be eaten by this alien.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids style.
Yeah, so they're all put in this pot, water, vegetables, and there's this high priest who's chanting some kind of incantation to boil the Doctor alive. And I have the honor of playing that new creation. In the script, it's Pixelotta, and I kept changing it to Pixie Lot because it amused me.
Say no more. Say no more. I think people want to know exactly what it is. You're gonna have to wait, everybody. Hopefully, we'll get the inside story on that at some point in the future. But they are talking about this. Lots of people remembering an adventure in space and time. Domgo asks, why is it not available on HD in HD on physical media. Well, it is, but you have to buy the steelbook, don't you, of the 50th anniversary stuff, or get the original set. So you can get it, but not on its own. Does that ring a bell, Jack? Am I making that up?
Yeah, it was always included with at least some version of Day of the Doctor. Yeah, it was always a like a bonus.
That's how I think that's how I've got it. I don't have it on its own, Anthony.
Yeah, I think, Dan, it was. I have it on its own, and it was an American. It was an American Blu-ray disc that was region free, and I think, maybe says right, I think it has An Earthly Child in the first 4 episodes on that disc. I think as an extra. But I think it came from America rather from the United Kingdom.
I do just find it weird that America has this whole line of different Blu-rays for Doctor Who. Compared to us. Like, it's not just one thing they've got different. It just boggles my mind.
There was definitely only one William Russell, of course, and there's lots of people saying in the live chat, joining us in sending our respects up to him wherever he may be. God bless William, says Domgo, and just a big old glittery heart there from Peter Harrington. Rest in peace. Ian Chesterton, says Michael Kewen, and lots more of the same. Stephen Braddock says William Russell was superb as Ian Chesterton. He absolutely was, and absolutely will be missed. And the original TARDIS crew, says Michael Q.
I was going to say, Dan, William Russell was there to add the kind of muscle and the energy to that older Doctor, wasn't he? He had a part to play in that first series.
The dynamic,
Yeah, in many ways, dare I say it, you sometimes see him as the leading man. He has lots of the activity in that first series. In that anticipation that William Hartnell wasn't able to be quite as energetic as a man in the same age as myself when he took on the role. There's that expectation. It's a bit like Tom Baker and Ian Marter before Tom Baker was cast. Here was somebody that was going to provide the energy and the muscle, if you like. And I do see William Russell as that kind of lead character through much of those early stories until we get to know the Doctor a little bit more.
Yes, so do I. Very much so. I mean, it is kind of an ensemble feeling, I think, Luke. When you watch those early stories, you get the impression that they're all component parts of the engine, really. I suppose that's pushing Doctor Who forward as it's becoming what it would be.
Yeah, the casting was perfect, wasn't it? I think my first memory of the OG 4 was actually Dalek Invasion of Earth. When Susan left, so that was my earliest memory of the original 4. But they were fantastic, absolutely fantastic, and it's a shame we never got to see them all together again. I know we got Susan back in various forms. We got her back for the 50th, and now big finish, and we got William Russell back in Power of the Doctor. But they were the early days. They were fantastic as well, especially Ian. He was the muscle, wasn't he? He was the leading man in many a sense, because obviously. William Hartnell's failing health, so it's sorely missed. But they were fantastic.
They could have never have known. I mean, I know that they talk about what William Hartnell apparently imagined that the series would and could go on and on and on, that it did have these legs, but he could never have known. Who could have known? Even people, even Sidney Newman and Verity Lambert couldn't possibly have known that nearly 61 years later to the day, here we'd all be. Dan's on the vodka, says, who said that? Who said that? That was Lee Smith. Thank you, Lee. I'm not, but the night is young. The night is young.
It's all right. You can't have a sip as bad as Simon last week.
No, what did he do? Oh, I do, yes.
Yes.
Yes, so here we are. Yes, we're approaching Doctor Who Day again with bated breath to see what the BBC could possibly have in store. I think speculation was we were going to get something pretty spectacular again, if not on a par with last year, still worth marking. It turns out that they're not getting that much at all, really. It was announced today there would be a screening on the official BBC Doctor Who YouTube channel of the story Boom from earlier this year. So it'll be live streamed over on the official channel. I think this was probably one of the better received, generally, episodes of the season. Let's think positively. I'd say that this was probably the better received. It could be because Stephen Moffat wrote it, I don't know. And Stephen Moffat will be taking part in this, as with a lot of the ideas that seem to have staying power now. It came from the fan base, didn't it? That these episodes could be sort of rescreened and we could all collectively watch them and tweet along with them. And so that's what Stephen Moffat will be doing on Saturday from 7 p.m. And he said he announced this over on X. I'll be tweeting along with this on Saturday from 7. I will explain the plot, which totally makes sense, all the jokes, which are funny actually, and why I'm so clever and handsome. Be there or, don't be there. It's a free country. Stephen, you might want to check that again. It's a free country. Hashtag thoughts and prayers. So it looks like they're going to try and make that a thing on Saturday. Hashtag thoughts and prayers. This is very much in the model of the tweet-alongs during lockdown that were pioneered, I suppose, by Emily Cook of Doctor Who magazine. Did you take part in any of the tweet-alongs, Luke? Do you remember that?
No, it was lockdown. I was incredibly hungover the entire time of lockdown. Standard.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, standard. Yeah, I built a little multi-shift gym in the shed and spent most of my time in the shed, and then got drunk during lockdown. No, fully aware. Emily Cook is absolutely smashed it now, isn't she? So especially with the Doctor Who escape rooms that are on the Blu-ray sets, which are the best things I've ever seen in my life. Those are fantastic. If you can watch them, absolutely watch them. They're fantastic. But no, I'm glad that's what led to Russell coming back, wasn't it? What led to that coming back. Yeah. So I was fully aware of him, but I dipped in every now and again. But I think my mind was very much elsewhere during lockdown.
It's nice that they're dusting them off, I think, for this in an official capacity. Maybe something else will be released in a couple of days' time, Charlotte. I suppose we'll have to wait and see, won't we? But the choice of episodes, curious, isn't it?
Well, it is, because there's no obvious Doctor Who Day link, but I think they've probably done it because he said that was quite well received, and Moffat's writing the Christmas special coming up. So this is probably being a bit of a watch his episode, which when we get to it, I think there's links. So that's also why they're probably doing Boom.
Could be right.
I think it's going to link into the Christmas special.
Or he could be the only writer who's got a Saturday night free.
That as well. And plus, Moffat is quite funny and witty when he does his online tweets. That's probably also, he's probably the better person right now to get to do a tweet along.
I would agree. With that. We'll be coming at you as well on Saturday for more Type 40 Live, so we'll get your takes on that. And if anything is confided during the course of the tweet along, maybe Stephen Moffat will do it with a drink in hand, and he may let something slip. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? Maybe he'll have some idea where the AAI figures are. So it's several months on, still no sign of the AAI figures for the whole of season 1 of Doctor Who. Perhaps Stephen's got them somewhere, I don't know. Stephen Moffat turned 63 a couple of days ago, so happy belated birthday to Stephen. And let us know what you think of the choice of Boom and whether you'll be taking part in the tweet along. There, we're all ears. Whilst you're here, let me thank everybody who's got behind us with the Blake 7 coverage this week. So Blake 7 has joined Doctor Who on HD as part of its own collection range of box sets from the BBC. That launched a couple of weeks ago. We've been covering it here on the channel by premiering some teleport videos. There was the Teleport podcast with myself, Sarah and Keith. That was last week, and earlier this week, a one-off Teleport Now live stream too. So where we talked about the fact that Blu-rays are actually here and got together a group of fans on screen, very much in the way that we do on Type 40 Live for Teleport Now. So yeah, they've done very, very well. There's been lots of comments, lots of interaction, and there does seem to be an appetite for more. So stay tuned is what I can say. Get over there, watch those videos, leave us some more comments, and make sure that you're subscribed and notified. Click the cloister bell to get the notifications. And it may well be the case that we'll be coming right at you with some more Teleport and Teleport Now. It's also the home, of course, of Type 40 Live across Rumble, X, YouTube, and on Facebook too. Got a lot to get into on the show with Luke, with Jack, with Anthony and Charlotte and everybody out there watching and commenting along. So stay tuned. Where should we go first? I think here. Okay, so yes, children in need of a stylist, a personal stylist, by the looks of things. If you look at this picture there from the Doctor Who pattern book all the way back in the 80s, I often wonder what became of these young scamps. Anthony, you're going to tell me you're one of these, aren't you, Anthony? Which one were you? Go on.
I'm not any of them, surprisingly. I'm trying to work out who. So I get Adric and Romana.
Yes.
But I get the Doctor and red jumpered logo. But who's the boy behind Romana trying to be? What is this?
I'm thinking Master. I'm thinking Master.
The Master. Could well be. It looks like a Blake Seven costume.
I was just thinking it looks like something Avon would wear.
Yeah, to be fair. With my new acquaintance or reacquaintance with Blake Seven recently on Blu-ray. But yeah, it looks like a Blake Seven costume. Dan, I'm none of these people, and I've even taken my scarf off because I can't compete with Luke's scarf, and I'm now warmed up.
I thought you were going to say I've even taken a lie detector test to prove that I'm not.
Yeah. Those children don't look very safe on that that rock either. I wonder how high up they all were.
This would definitely have failed the risk assessment, I think, Jack.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So so from those children to this guy, anybody remember this fella? This is Lenny Rush. Can anybody remember him? It's only been a few months.
Yeah.
So now I actually really liked this character. He played Morris, didn't he, in the 2-part finale for season 1, riding his Segway as the latest of UNIT's scientific advisors. Lenny Rush, I'd never seen him in anything before, but apparently he's in a few kids shows, comedies and things like that. Apparently he's got a bit of a following. I don't know. Enough of a following for Russell to cast him. Luke, had you seen him before in anything?
No, I saw him at the BAFTAs, and that was it. So I got made aware of him there, but I thought he was fantastic. I thought he was one of the shining lights of the finale. I liked him too. I thought he was phenomenal. Yeah, I thought. He really bounced off each other really well, and I know he's quite young, and I thought he had a very mature performance. I thought, wow, this obviously he's going to go very, very far. He's very, very talented as an actor. So I think. Yeah, it was only a matter of time because it obviously got BAFTA Best Breakthrough. So it was only a matter of time before he came over to Doctor Who. I think it was the BAFTA Breakthrough or upcoming. He got some form of BAFTA. But yeah, I think it was only a matter of time before he came over to Doctor Who, and I thought he did a fantastic job. He really relished that role, and you could see he was having fun with it as well, which is what you want from.
I agree completely. He was also one of the presenting team of this year's Children in Need telethon on BBC One. There he is with there he is. So that's Lenny Rush there in the top right-hand corner. And so BBC's Children in Need returned to television as always. Every single November it comes back, doesn't it, for a whole evening of entertainment. Introduced by an assortment of personalities. Yes, I'm doing it again. And so it's a live entertainment extravaganza for just 3 hours now on a Friday. And it was this occasion that was chosen to premiere a whole new excerpt from the upcoming Doctor Who special. So it's the Children in Need has this long established connection with Doctor Who, doesn't it, Anthony? Stretching right the way back to the 3rd ever telethon when the 5 Doctors was a huge part of it. So in some ways it doesn't feel like a proper Children in Need if Doctor Who isn't present in some way. But whenever they do this and they just give us a few minutes of something that we're going to get anyway, it always feels a little bit cheapskate. I mean, are we just spoilt by stuff like Time Crash and Dimensions in Time? Is it...
I would agree, Dan. The 5 Doctors, a whole story. The 12-year-old me was, you couldn't believe your luck when that was transmitted, and then Time Crash, the episode just before Christmas Invasion. We're very spoiled with Doctor Who and Children in Need. When you just see a clip, I just feel, well, I didn't bother to tune in live. I watched it online. I think 2 or 3 days later, I'd even forgotten that they were doing it, which feels a shame, but it's kind of where I am with new Doctor Who right now.
Yeah.
You know, this time last year for the 60th anniversary, I was like, chomping at the bit. It was great. And now it's kind of moving towards, you know, the Christmas special. It's like, great, so excited. This just passed me by in the way that the 5 Doctors on Children in Need, you know, in 1983 really didn't pass me by. So
yeah, it was one of the most exciting nights of certainly of my childhood, and it still sort of stands as one of the most exciting evenings of my life. Yes, don't laugh, everybody. It was genuinely.
Honestly, right, you three, you younger people, right? Okay, here's an old man wading in now. I was 12 years old. I had to get my dad when on the way to work to get the radio times to the point where when he got to work, he had to ring me and read out the cast list. Because it was all shrouded in mystery, and I was going, right, say again, the Doctor Patrick Troughton, right? Just say again, the Doctor John Pertwee. It was heady, absolutely heady. So when you see a 1-minute clip of the Doctor and his new companion sliding towards a monster, towards a dinosaur,
yes,
it doesn't quite cut it. It doesn't quite cut it in the way that 5 Doctors did.
So yeah, this is a new clip that we'd not seen before from Joy to the World, written by Stephen Moffat, featuring the Doctor, played by Ncuti Gatwa, Joy, who will be played by Nicola Coughlan, and the new Silurian character Melnak, who's played by Jonathan Aris. Curious character. The whole thing was introduced by Ncuti Gatwa, wearing a version of the Doctor Who costume, or a Doctor Who costume that we're yet to see, yet another one, Jack, just in case we weren't confused enough as it is. And Ncuti Gatwa was convincing as himself. I'm still middling on Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor, but he's very convincing as himself. Not sure about this costume, though. He kind of looks like he's been forced into it. Yeah, so it may grow on us, Jack. What do you think?
Not really a fan of it, to be honest. I'm going to say.
No, me neither.
No. I mean, I do like some of his other outfits. Like a couple of the however many he's got. But yeah, this one is a straight up no from me. Straight up no. It's very.
The 7th Doctor had a scarf like that in his first story, didn't he, Luke? I seem to remember. Go back to scarves again, but.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Ncuti's costumes are just. I think the Doctor needs that distinct silhouette, doesn't he? I think you had it with Smith and they evolved it. Tennant's was there with the coat and the suit. I thought Ncuti's one, obviously, it's a variation on the silhouette with the long brown leather coat, the one you had in church on Ruby Road, and now this one as well. I think that's great, and I was like, I really, really dig that outfit. But the fact he keeps chopping and changing, it's like. Stick to one, please. I get where it's a modern time, it's modern Doctor Who. He would change his clothes, obviously, instead of just a shirt or a suit. But it's like, no, let's. They can probably make loads of toys out of there, which is fantastic for character options. But even though there's distinct lack of toys, but yeah, I think they just need to settle on a distinct silhouette from now.
I think they're really missing a trick with these toys, Jack. I mean, I know that there's been 2 of the Doctor and Ruby now, but a TARDIS playset with the jukebox as well. You know, I'd like a TARDIS jukebox. I'd have one of those sat on my desk that just played the Doctor Who theme tune. If it was an exact replica of that, Jack, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I'd love a Doctor Who themed jukebox. That'd be incredible. Like, imagine like the amount of hours you could spend of just getting random Doctor Who themes playing at you all day. That'd be incredible.
Stephen Braddock says, I remember when the Children in Lead telethon went on till 1 a.m. And Gary Akers, he's not happy by the sound of it. Children in need of an actual trailer. With this clip that was supposed to be 5 minutes long, and ended up being, I think it was about 3 minutes worth of the Doctor and Joy in this hut. Which, you know, I don't want to complain about when I see clips from Doctor Who where sets look like sets, because I actually quite like that about Doctor Who, Charlotte. It reminds me of the show when it was genuinely very, very cheap. I do like that sort of homespun-ness of it. And in my case, you know, I didn't watch this on the Children in Need telethon either. just like Anthony said, I watched this on YouTube a day or two later. So maybe I'm part of the problem. I don't know. But yes, I didn't see this live. I didn't rush to it. But when I watched it, personally speaking, I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was, I know it's only one scene, but it was quite nicely written. You could hear Moffat's voice in it. I thought Shooty seemed actually quite confident in the part, in a way which we got flashes of, I think, in season 1. And Nicola Coughlan seems fine in this character. What's your take on this? Did you get a feel for it?
I sort of, the tone I get was adventure and sort of that sort of popcorn adventure vibe, which was good. The main thing that I noticed, and this is what I said about a link, the sort of the company that was dropped, the name drop of the company that was behind the case, they were the people that made all the tech in Boom. That was the weapons.
Oh, I see.
So, and then he even, like, there's the line he says in here of, like, he's almost been tracking them. I've got a vibe. And he says, like, he's got a history with them. And it would make sense the Doctor would hate a weapons manufacturer. And that's what the company was.
Weren't Villengard the people? Weren't Villengard the company who owned the weapons factory that the Doctor claimed to have destroyed to Captain Jack?
Yeah.
Back in the Empty Child as well.
Yes.
And he replaced it with Banana Grove.
Once upon a time, when Peter went there with Rusty, when Peter's last episode, I think it's Once Upon or Twice Upon a Time. Sorry.
Well,
so we went to the factories of Villengard.
So it's there. It's the V. It began with V, the name as well, because I couldn't quite remember the exact name.
So this is a recurring thing.
But that's what got sort of my interest more, because usually when Moffat goes back to something or name drops something quite precisely more than once, it's usually for a reason. It's usually because he's planning something. Is Moffat's sort of MO.
Yeah.
So if this is a bit of a follow-on to Boom, which is now, I didn't think it was going to be. We didn't get any hints of that before. So if this is going to carry on from there, and sort of, that's what's got me interested, actually. And up till now, I've not really had a massive interest in the Christmas special, because there's been nothing to sort of hook me to get my interest. So now I'm still sort of waiting until I see it, but that link has now got me interested more than I have been up till current time. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Peter Harrington says it's a terrible clip. He shot the words out with no passion or feeling. I can see why. I don't think it was terrible at all, but I think he has. I think he only flashes sort of in and out of the character, and it felt to me like it was a clip. It could have easily been a clip from his very first episode. Domgo said, "Can Gansworth go 5 minutes without that shocked look on his face?" Well, I think that's part of the. If it's in the script, look shocked. You've got to look shocked, and they're going to include. They want to. The idea is that they've chosen that scene, I suppose, isn't it, Anthony, to hook not people like us, because they know we're going to watch it anyway. The idea is to hook the casuals, and heaven knows the casual audience really do need to be grabbed now, don't they, and dragged back to this show, if at all possible. Do you think this scene may do the trick? Because, as Charlotte said, it speaks of adventure. It's fairly spectacular. The ground is bitten away, isn't it? The ground, the wood beneath their feet is bitten away by a dinosaur. And the Doctor and Joy are seen to be very near its jaws by the time it ends. Do you think these kind of old school thrills would be enough to wow anybody?
Dan, I agree with you. I think the clip's okay. I think Shooty shines in this particular clip. I'm not sure it would, if I wasn't a Doctor Who fan, would I run to tune in on Christmas Day to watch this? I'm not sure. I think the dinosaur was great. But I don't think it didn't really hook me as a fan. I hear what Charlotte's saying about the links to Boom, and I think you're probably on the money, Charlotte, when this is the reason for the tweet along, because there is that connection with Boom.
Yeah.
And I think you're probably on the money with that one. But would it hook me in, Dan? I would say probably not. I think I just feel as though the ship has sailed a little bit, and I don't quite know why. I think series, as I was saying earlier, the 60th anniversary was great, the Christmas special was great, and then we had a kind of lukewarm series 1. So there doesn't seem to be an appetite for this. So when it kind of came along, I watched it. It kind of came and went in many ways. It didn't really hook me in. I get the links to previous Moffat creations, and that has appeal, I guess. But for me, it kind of like was just a clip of Doctor.
Here's what I've noticed with primary school kids lately. The kind of age group that they should really be aiming to try and grab to get back to watching Doctor Who as a habit, Jack, is that Jurassic Park and all things sort of connected to dinosaurs is still very much a thing. Yeah. And I don't think dinosaurs will ever not be cool. And as regards dinosaurs on a TV budget, in 30 years we've come a long way. I thought this was, in that respect, pretty spectacular. And I think the younger ones may have been wowed enough to think, particularly if they've never seen the show, what's that? I might watch that. But I don't think the entire thing was particularly captivating because you didn't really get much of a feel for either the Doctor or Joy. But I think for anybody who hasn't seen the show in a while or never at all, it might be enough to pique some interest. I mean, what did you think? Was this what you were expecting, or it just simply not enough, or were you surprised and delighted in any way by it?
To be honest, I was disappointed that we got another preview clip, because we got one for Comic-Con in, was it July? Where there was that one they announced war between land and sea. Was that July?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was more,
So
longer,
we haven't had,
I think.
we haven't had an actual trailer for it yet, which is baffling. And to be honest, I don't see the point of having one now, because you've already shown like 6 minutes worth of footage. So
yeah, fair enough.
It's kind of no point. But don't get me wrong, it looked like, a visually pleasing clip, and that's one thing about New Who. It's obviously there's a lot of budget that's gone to making the the visual effects looking gorgeous and stuff, but I don't know, it just wasn't enough to make me like, okay, that's cool, I'm definitely going to tune in. I mean, I am anyway, I do.
That's the thing, we're going to watch it anyway. I think if you've got 2 minutes to grab people, Luke, you're not going to just have two people sat talking in a room. You're going to have, if not the money shot, you're going to say, look, we've got a dinosaur. That's okay, isn't it? I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're going to have bumper ratings anyway at Christmas. That BBC Christmas lineup is one akin to like 10, 15 years ago. You got Kirsty, you got the new Wallace and Gromit premiering that day. You got Gavin and Stacey coming back. You got Call the Midwife. I think the EastEnders Christmas special. I think that lineup anyway, you're going to have a bumper audience anyway, no matter what. I think Gavin and Stacey's going to bring most of the audience in, but I think it's going to attract people anyway. I'd like to think it's the same T-Rex from Deep Breath. Why not? Peter Capaldi's just off the side having a little adventure a little bit later. Who knows? But it's a little bit different. So I thought the T-Rex in Deep Breath actually looked fantastic as well. But.
Yeah, so did I. I mean, we've got a comment here from Stephen Braddock who said, how come the T-Rex in the trailer looks worse than the T-Rex in Deep Breath from 10 years ago? I actually think that it's come on quite a lot. I think this new one, I love the one in Deep Breath, don't get me wrong, but this does, to me, represent a considerable evolution when you put them side by side.
I just think, I agree with what you guys have all said, though. I think this needed to be a trailer. I really do.
Yeah.
Because I think the big problem is nobody still really knows what this Christmas story is, what the special is. And obviously we don't want to know the whole story, but we haven't got any sort of feel. We've just got some Moffat quotes floating around. And you had to literally explain to me last week, Dan, what half the quote meant because it was a very Moffat-y quote.
Yeah, this is what Stephen said, just to recap. We've had, as you say, we've had no real trailer. We've had no tease in any way. And there was mentions of the broader plot in that, but it wasn't a proper... You're quite right. I think an actual trailer would have probably have served it better. Stephen Moffat told BBC South East Today just last week, imagine in the far, far future, imagine that a hotel chain got hold of the idea of time travel what's the first thing they would do? They'd realise they had an opportunity to sell all the unsold nights at their hotels throughout all of history. So it's a very Moffat idea. It's quite a strong idea, but you don't really get that or any sense of that from that clip. It looks like one of the new Jumanji movies, doesn't it?
And the problem is that
I
clip
love those movies, but
oh yeah, but the problem is that clip and what Jack was referring to, we got at Comic-Con, they're not really connected as clips. You got the Doctor going into hotel rooms saying, "Do you want?" I can't remember what he kept saying, "Do you want?" And then you've got the dinosaur. And I just think for people to and I'm thinking Doctor Who fans, yes, they need the casual audience, but I think more than anything, they need to get the Doctor Who fans back right now. The people who are going to watch this because it's Doctor Who. And
people like Lee here in the live chat, Charlotte, he says they may have a dinosaur, but do they have a story and actors who can convince me of it? He believes probably not. So there's a lot of people who feel pushed it away.
I think people feel like they need something solid to get hold of a little bit at the moment because it's been a bit shaky ground. And that's what Anthony was talking about. If Doctor Who had been received more positive, that first series, they probably could have been a bit more vague about the Christmas special. But I think they need to install confidence. They need to sort of make people feel like there's something solid to grab hold to go, yeah, I'm going to watch it. Because they haven't got that benefit of the doubt anymore. It's just gone. I'm sorry. There's a group of people that are not going to watch this purely because it's Doctor Who anymore. They need to be convinced to watch. And that's sort of the state
the gloves really do need to come off. As you said, Luke, they've lost that silhouette. The Doctor still hasn't landed somehow. Cheryl says you can't go wrong with the T-Rex, though. Luke, and CGI finds a way, advises Gary Akers. So maybe
I think potentially this is the last Christmas special we're getting for a while.
Oh, so I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, potentially. Well, they filmed season 2 already, and they haven't shot a Christmas special to go along with it. So take from that as you will. And I don't think they're scheduled to go back into production until I know when, but I'm not saying. But yeah, so I think they do need to grab it.
If we look at television, generally speaking, when's the latest that they could potentially film? You know, there are a couple of dates floating around there, and I'm not quite sure which one it is that's right now, because it does seem that things have moved along. But I think the latest they can feasibly film something like that with the period of post-production that Doctor Who tends to need would probably be April, May. They can't leave it till September or October. This isn't Gavin and Stacey. It's going to need to be April or May.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting after next year. I don't think we're getting any new Doctor Who till 2027. Just throwing that out there. The war between the land and the sea is going to be the little bit of a buffer in 2026 to try and tide us over. And then we'll get new Doctor Who. We might get a Christmas special after, but I don't think we'll get one. Oh, if we I know a couple of things, but I'm not going to.
Fair enough. We won't push on that. Needs some Ewoks, suggests Lee Smith. That's what it's missing. And Peter Harrington says Safari so goody, Anthony. There's another deep cut for Christopher Biggins fans.
Absolutely. Yeah. It doesn't conjure that up in my head, but yeah, Peter Harrington got quite a good quote. Well done. I was gonna say, Dan, about the Doctor's silhouette. Just before the Children in E clip, when Ncuti introduces it in that we've discussed in that tartan zip up top. The first time I saw that was at the prom. So the Sorry I Can't Be With You video as the new Doctor. Oh, shock. That picture. I Can't Be With You. Well, you weren't in most of series 1, so I didn't expect you to be at the prom.
Good point.
He was wearing that same top jacket for the prom introduction. So I'm only guess that they recorded the introduction to the prom and the introduction to the Children all on the same day, only because he's wearing the same thing.
I'd say that's very, very likely. It makes sense. It's economical, I suppose. I can see why they would do that, but just when you can see the cracks, you can see the joins on some of this stuff. Yeah, it does sort of rob you of any kind of facade you have about the magic of television. Yeah, this isn't going down well in the live chat. It has to be said. A lot of people feel that it's just not enough, and that, generally speaking, that's how it is. Generally speaking, at the moment, the Children in Need clip looks very greasy. Greasy so compared to the preview that was shown a few months ago, according to Kieran Coley. What do you mean by greasy? Do you mean
the quality of the video?
Do you mean it
No,
looks as if
it looks like they shot it. It looks like they shot it with a Pro Mist filter on, so everything blooms and everything looks really soft.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what it looks like.
Kind of greasy.
I was going to say that the floor was greasy. That's why they slipped down towards the dinosaur's mouth. I thought he meant that.
The Doctor Who and the Ewoks, says Michael Q. And a good boy is in the live chat. Now, Doctor Who, he says, Doctor Who would have been the only reason I would have kept my Disney Plus subscription. But how bad the last season was, I've had no reason to keep it. Oh, never mind, good boy, never mind. Happy to have you in the live chat. The happy... Kess, I don't know what that's about, Kess. You completely lost me there. Ouch, says Rob Alexander. Ouch indeed, says Michael Q. It was filmed with a pea-coloured filter, suggests Problem being in the live chat.
That's a technical term, Lee, right then?
You've got people explaining, and it's co-signing on your explanation. Vaseline grease on the lens, says Lee Smith. Oh, you're absolutely right.
It looks like Scream 4. Like Scream 4 used a very similar production process, which is everything's very bloomed, and now they're trying to get rid of it for the Blu-ray release, so the 4K release. So I imagine they did the same with this, which is why it looks very, very soft. And yeah, it is very, very bright. I will admit, it is very saturated. So yeah,
in all honesty, if I could have, guys, I'd have done what Crimpling Doubloon's done. And he says I didn't bother to watch the Children in Need clip. I'm happy to wait to see it as part of the episode. On catch-up, in his case, sometime after Boxing Day, but to see it with the actual episode, because, I'm going to be watching it, Jack, so I don't need to see I just, obviously, as a content creator, you've sort of got to talk about this stuff. If other people in the community are talking about it, you've sort of got to know what it is they're talking about. But under my own steam, with the way that I feel about Doctor Who at the moment, and how I feel a little bit overwhelmed too by content from everybody at all the time. My favourite show at the moment is Cobra Kai. There are 5 whole new episodes out there and they've been up for nearly a fortnight, and I haven't seen them yet. You can get overwhelmed by content, even of your very favourite shows, and you just have to kind of prioritise. And I would have been happy to wait for this, but I thought, trying to play devil's advocate a little, I thought this clip was perfectly fine. I thought it was snappy, no pun intended, and quite energetic. And I thought it showcased at least the feel of Doctor Who, the kind of the factory settings quite well. Is it enough? I don't know. I think we'll have to wait and see on Christmas Day, Luke, see what the ratings say. The ratings game is changing all the time. It's a big swing from the BBC this year, as you quite rightly say. They've got Wallace and Gromit. They've got Gavin and Stacey. They're clearly aiming to take back the crown. So that's just one of many cliffhangers that we're going to be left with until the time comes. Can they do it? And more to the point, will Doctor Who actually be part of it? Will it hold its end up? So that's Joy to the World, written by Stephen Moffat, directed by Alex Play, transmitting on Christmas Day, we believe. Apparently it's going to get simultaneously dropped wherever you are in the world as well, so if you're watching on Disney Plus, you're going to get it at the same time and join the conversation. We can all talk about it, review it at the same time. Results may vary, obviously, as always. Yes, so where next? I need more. Oh, sorry, mate. Oh, God, blimey. Look, I think it is time. It is time we had a bit of a break. But this isn't our usual break, everybody. Get ready to be tickled and inspired by Luke Walters and everybody else at SinScope and their Hooligans, this brand new web series, this multi-part web series that launches on Saturday, the 23rd of November, 2024 at 7 p.m. in the Doctor Who slot, excuse me. And here, just for us, is a trailer. Don't go away. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
No!
You asked for my help.
More as a sounding board. Not so you could rewrite the ending and ruin it.
What are you doing dressed like that?
I'm working.
Hiya, fam.
So, you're my replacement. A dandy and a clown.
Dear Auntie Babe, thank you for Doctor Who this year. How about a season 14 marathon? I'm talking Robots of Death, Talons of Wing Chang, Deadly Assassin. Oh, love Gallifreyan stories. Proper classic Who, you know, Tom at his finest.
Doctor Who? Nah, I've not watched since David Tennant.
We open with the TARDIS.
Oi! Stop what you're doing and state your name and planet of origin.
Aye.
Do we know what we're looking for, Doctor? I don't really fancy walking up and down these corridors all day.
Seriously, that was like the worst episode of Doctor Who ever, and I've seen Twin Dilemma.
We were on the verge of discovering something huge there.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for overreacting. I'm sorry for being moody. I'm sorry that I'm no longer fun. I'm sorry I don't like the Rings of Akaten. I haven't eaten, so nothing too strong. I get drunk.
You know, I really think he might.
Where is he?
Where is he indeed? Shh.
Dalek!
You will be exterminated! Exterminate!
Well done, Russell. Now you've ruined it.
Welcome back to Type 40 Live, covering the past, the present, and the future of Doctor Who, both on and off screen, official and unofficial. I'm back here with the panelists. I think I'm back with them. Oh, well, I'm back. Are they? That's the question. Only one way to find out, isn't there? Here, they're here. Oh. Got a new panelist as well. Hello, Doctor.
I saw a retro Doctor in the comments saying he was staring at Matt Smith, so I thought, there you go.
Bring it back. So that was the trailer, wasn't it, to Hooligans, the official trailer. So it wasn't quite what I was expecting. So it's quite humorous, but it looks really well acted, and it looks professionally sort of graded and shot and very slick. And like this could be one of the best fan created series or films I think I've ever seen. So how long does it take you to put all this together, Luke?
Not long at all. I think that we've still got one episode to be shot, which is the finale, which the boys are haggling me to do a 2-part finale. It was originally going to be one bumper episode, but they're haggling to split it in two and do the to be continued. They want to go full RTD one with it. So okay. Each episode, I think the first episode took about 2 or 3 days to film. Second episode took 2 days to film. Third episode took, so it was roughly between 2 or 3 days per episode. So it's very light. There's only roughly about 2 people on the crew at any given time. It's just myself on camera and directing, and then Jamie Carroll, who is very famous because he did Time Agent years and years ago, which is coming back. Season 5 of Time Agent's coming back. Also starring Dom. So it's only us two. Then we've got someone else, but Jamie's off, Kieran Carley, he stepped on. So there's only like 1 or 2 crew members the entire time we're there. And yeah, it's a bit of fun. This is very much a love letter to all Doctor Who, modern and classic. And as you can see, the boys relish it as well. So I know Brandon is fantastic. Brandon, Rob, and that's my partner as well, Ellie. She's in it as well. So she pops up. She's wearing the shooty jumper that she knitted. I think she knitted the David Tennant crochet doll as well. So yeah, she's very much trying to get her ingrained in it as much as possible now, and she's she's fallen into the trap. Hopefully, I'll get a message.
Indoctrinated, well indoctrinated.
Yeah.
It did seem that there were lots of nods, kisses back to Doctor Who, as you said, the classic and the new series, but quite subtle in some respects. Piece of dialogue, little things behind you, but the focus seems to be very much on the acting. It seems to me very easy with productions like this to just have a parade of those things, of the Easter eggs, of the remember this, remember that's literally everywhere. It does seem that there's actual characters in this, and that's no slight on anybody else who makes fan films. I think that generally speaking, the quality of them has been going up and up and up and up, not least of all the stuff that the Dom's been doing, Dominic Martin, who we saw in the clip again there. But I've never seen anything quite like this.
Yeah, I think Doctor Who does come second almost. It's just two people, and they're two, like Brandon and Rob, are two incredible actors that I've worked with on Time Machine and I Made War of the Worlds and the pilot for this. And I think we got a core cast of about 4. We got Ellie, Rob, Brandon, and John Stewart, who is you'll see he pops into it a little bit more towards the finale. Yeah, I think acting's first. I think when we did the original pilot, it was in celebration of Doctor Who. So Doctor Who is more at the forefront. I think for this one, it's Doctor Who takes a little step back and it's two people. Like if two people that are fanatical about Doctor Who lived with each other, then these references would be natural to them. So it doesn't want it to feel forced. Apart from him dressing up as Amy Pond as a policewoman, that was actually
it's going down very well in the live chat here with that trailer across YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X. Some good comments. Lee's very happy to see a Sontaran in there, and Peter Harrington says, "I like it already."
It sort of had the Five-ish Doctors vibe, that sort of feel.
Yeah.
It really made me feel like almost the same people that made this. And like we love the feel with Five Doctors, so I think it's impressive that you've managed to recreate that almost a little bit.
Friend of yours here?
And that's Brandon. Yeah, there's Brandon. That's one of the leads who's just popping up. So loads of it is self-promotion. Brandon.
You'll have to come on and join us as well, Brandon. Congratulations on the launch of Hooligans to both of you and everybody there at SinScope. People do like this. People are feeling it. So where will we be able to see this when it's all finished? Asks Gary Akers in the live chat. Luke, where can people find it?
So the SinScope Pictures YouTube channel. First episode is out. Just Google us. We got a lot of stuff on there as well. So I Made War of the Worlds is out. Glad you. Yep. Just look for SinScope Pictures on YouTube. I'll drop a comment in the comments now, so you can all just give us a follow. So we're going to be doing one a month for the next 6 months. So first one's out now. The second one is a personal favorite of mine, and that's the one where Rob's character, who's named, the two characters are called Billy and Russell. So Rob's character Billy, he's writing his own Doctor Who fan fiction via the help of Russell, who's in work, and he's writing a sequel to Time Warrior. So that's why we also get nods as well. So they bounce between should we do classic? So that's where the black and white comes from. Tom Baker homage pops up as well when he comes out in the scarf. I thought the Dalek and the Imperial Dalek as well is fantastic, and the TARDIS as well. That was provided by Daniel Parr, who's doing Doctor Who Dark Reality, I think it is.
Oh yes.
So he's doing that. So that's a personal favorite of mine. I remember we were on set for that episode, and I think everyone was sharing photos in the group chat. Everyone was sending photos around because obviously we got a TARDIS and Taran and a Dalek, and we got Rob in his Doctor outfit. And I know Brandon was down at the Big Finish live recording with Paul McGann, and we were sending him these photos and be like, "Oh, look what we're shooting today!" And he was fuming, like absolutely fuming. He was like, "For my solo episode, I want all this. I want Ian McKellen." I was like, of course. That was a great day. I think Rob had the time of his life. I think no one relished it more than Rob.
People here really like the trailer. You've got some new subscribers already, and the link to the SinScope channel is in the description to the video as well, everybody, so you can head over there. First episode drops this coming Saturday at 7 p.m. and then subsequent episodes, you have to stay notified, won't you? And then you'll get them as and when they arrive. So thank you. Thanks, Luke. Thanks, Brandon. Everybody else. I can't wait to see some more. Okay, what next? What and What and where?
I'm Lila of the 17, and you should watch time-rotor.
Oh, yes, I always do everything that woman says. So here we are. Yes, we can see all from where we're camped out right now. Maybe we'll get some truth about a recent happening in the Whoniverse that's been going on. People have been talking about this all week. In fact, it was the event at the weekend was the London. Now let me get this right. The London Comic Con WinterCon that was held at Olympia over the 16th and the 17th of November. There they are, with a heavy sort of Doctor Who bent to it, a heavy USP, I think, for Doctor Who fans there this time. They have these events twice a year at Olympia, and they do seem to be getting larger in profile, if not ambition. I know that Ian was at one last year and Shah too, so we have Type 40ers have been there before. But you actually went to this one, didn't you, Jack? You know, throughout last weekend, all over social media, all I saw was a hell of a lot of people complaining about this event.
Oh, yeah.
But also a lot of people sharing their pictures from the event as well, of them meeting the various Doctor Who celebrities that were there. So rather than me sort of recap what people have said and where they've said it and the general lay of the land there, I thought the easiest thing to do would be simply to ask a bloke I knew who was actually there. So you headed down to Olympia for London Comic Con, the WinterCon this year, didn't you? Did you do one day or both days? And tell us your story with this.
So I only went on the Saturday because, I only decided to go because it was in July time. They announced that Shooty was going. And I don't go to Comic Cons as much as I used to, but it's always kind of been like a goal of mine to, get photos with every Doctor at least. So when they announced Shooty, I was like, it's a no-brainer. So when I looked at the prices, I think you've already covered it on the channel in the past. The prices for some of the tickets were a bit definitely out of question. So I went for the cheaper option, which was just under £90 for a photo with Shooty.
Okay.
I was on the cheaper side. So I booked that a while ago, and then they announced Millie was going, so I booked the cheap photo for that. Headed down on the day. Saturday, I was raring to go. I woke up early, got my Premier Inn breakfast. I was ready to go. Got there, ready for opening. Got in fine, perfectly fine. And then, because just before the event happens, there's like a timetable posted online of like when the photos are happening, when the autographs
what and where.
Yeah. So like, where, when, etc. And then it got to when Shooty's photos, the first lot of Shooty's photos were happening was kind of where it hit the fan a little bit. So with Showmasters, what they do, they've got multiple tiers when it comes to photos. So there's this thing called the Diamond Pass, where, bearing in mind, this is separate from the entry fee. So you've got to pay the entry fee on top of this. So there's, for Shooty, it was close to £300. This includes a photo, a autograph. Bearing in mind, that's the only way you're guaranteed to get an autograph from certain guests is by getting the autograph. And then there's like a exclusive present, which is something connected to Shooty.
A present as in a gift?
Yeah, it's normally either a poster or some merch with like a character of the actor. So it probably would have been something Doctor Who related, I think. And then there was a talk that was meant to happen where he's on stage and he's talking about his career and stuff, which ended up getting cancelled anyway. So Saturday came along, went in. Shooty last minute, Showmasters announced, I think it was on the Thursday or the Friday, that they had to cut Shooty's day short because he had a rehearsal for that play that he's doing in the next.
Oh, the importance of being earnest, yeah.
Yes. So they cut his day short on Saturday, but they announced that he was going to be doing Sunday and that Millie was going to be doing Sunday as well. So on Saturday, there was like well, there were quite a few people that were booked to see Shooty on Saturday, so they were prioritising the diamond passes because that's another thing as well. You get early, you get priority when it comes to your photo queues and stuff. And then, it turns out they didn't actually finish getting the diamond people through. By the time,
so the people who'd paid the best part of £300, they didn't get them through.
Not all of them. Apparently, there was only because there was 2 photo sessions that day. There was one in the morning and one in the afternoon just before he went, and so they had to cut the one short in the morning because then he was doing a photo shoot with him and Millie, and for fans that booked the duo shoot, and then he did a few more autographs, and then he had to do the second shoot, which was where I was grateful that I was able to get my photo. But the second one, because obviously people were panicking, they're like, are we actually going to get our money here? Are we actually going to get a photo? And instead of it instead of it being a queue, it turned into a massive pile-on because there were people that had obviously turned up. People turned up expecting, they were promised that they were going to be able to get their photos regardless. And the staff, in fairness, the staff were trying, they were doing their best, but people were getting very agitated, and the queue, as I said, it started to become a bit of a pile-on. People were shoving. It was very claustrophobic, and then it came to when did Shooty leave? It was about just before 2:00. Shooty ended up leaving to go to this rehearsal. And I think I was like the regular photo, are sold in like batches. So I was batch 1, and then they go from batch 1 all the way to I think batch 10. So bearing in mind they hadn't.
So it's a way of sort of managing it, so you haven't got a rush of 40 people going all at once. You can break it down into manageable chunks of people who will all go to a precise location at a given time. You've got a reasonable chance of getting them all through and meeting your obligation so that they get the product that they paid for.
Yes, exactly. So they called batch 1, which surprised me because I did bump into some people earlier in the day, like friends and stuff, that weren't able to get their photos, and they had the diamond pass. So that kind of surprised me, but I queued up anyway. And then the mob was slowly going in. But then I noticed that they tried cutting off the queue and saying that was it for the day. Like about five or six people in front of me. But then I found out later, apparently Shooty's agent said that, he can probably still do like another half an hour. So thankfully, because of that, I was able to get in and get my photo. But there were quite a few people that were told that they could either come back for free entry on Sunday. Bearing in mind, a lot of these people claimed that they only came on the Saturday just to see Shooty.
Of course.
He was a big draw, wasn't he?
Yeah. And they were told that they had to email in to get refunds.
You've got Doctor Who fans, sex education fans as well. And what surprises me, Anthony, is that Showmasters, I've never been to one of their events, but they've been doing these for years, really high-profile events. This is a hell of a facility as well. It's not the biggest. It's not like the NEC ones that I've seen up here, but it's pretty big. You think, well, surely they could have managed this. I was really shocked to hear about all this. I mean, it can't be just that Shooty Gatwa himself is that much in demand, because there are certainly bigger stars they've had at this, but to mismanage this amount of people, I mean, it could have easily have ended in a tragedy of some sort with this amount of people crammed into this kind of area. It does sound like it was a proper, I've got no other word to use other than a proper shit show.
Yeah, it was. It was an absolute shit show. And then there was a lot of anger that was felt when when it was called out that was it. Because
this was Shooty Gatwa's first UK event, wasn't it?
It was his first ever Comic-Con, yeah. Same with me, yeah. It's a world exclusive, yeah.
So it's understandable, all joking apart, we can say what we like about the popularity of the show at the moment, all those kinds of things. people had paid for this product. People, as a group, a certain amount of people wanted to meet this gentleman and the lady, the young lady. So here they were. It's not necessarily, I mean, we've heard before how the actors don't set the fees for these. It's all, again, that's set by other people. Yeah. So I think that in this instance, the actors are kind of passengers in this. And we're probably just as unaware of what was going to happen as you guys were. Is that how it was, do you think? What did you see any frustration from the, I mean, obviously the staff must have been frustrated and maybe a bit embarrassed, but was the tension showing on the guests, on the actors too? Because there was actors from all sorts of movies and TV shows there, wasn't there?
Oh yeah, there was a lot. So yeah, obviously had Millie was there, Michael Sheen was there, there was Colin was there. There's a few people from some Marvel stuff as well. So there was some fairly like decent names there as well. Like enough to get people to queue up. But
yeah,
I think for like in Shooty and Millie's case, they're current Doctor Who stars. Something that's never really happened before. I think the closest we've had to like a current actor from Doctor Who being on was Jodie, but she'd already finished.
I was startled to see the current actor doing an event like this. Were you as well, Anthony?
Yeah, I was, Dan. Because like you, I think what you're alluring to is that in previous comic cons, when Jodie did hers, she had finished, and again, it makes me feel again that maybe Shooty has finished. That's probably not the case. So therefore, why did he do it? Was somebody pushing him into doing this to kind of get some publicity for the program that we feel at the moment is limping a bit? Could be all kinds of reasons why potentially he was there. I can see the draw of lots of people wanting to go and see him because it was their first opportunity. I think what would have cheesed me off is if I had travelled halfway across the country to get to London and paid for accommodation on the night before.
Because people do.
But hotels, train tickets, to be told to come back on Sunday, the on cost of that would be quite large, wouldn't it? Another train ticket, another hotel night, you've already paid a hotel night. So it's those kind of things around that I was feeling, apart from the fact that people didn't get their photo taken with Shooty after they paid for it, was the things that, Jack, I wasn't there, but, I was listening to this discourse on Twitter and social media.
I wasn't sure how much of it was actually true, Anthony, because we've all been in situations where we've been at events like concerts, gigs, festivals, where it perhaps hasn't been the best of experiences, or maybe it's been a bit of a trudge to get to the main event. You think, oh, God, that's over. But usually, when the band come on stage, the mood lifts, Luke. People maybe a little happier. So I wasn't really sure that the things that, because everybody's disgruntled about something on social media, aren't they? So I wasn't really sure that the version that was being transmitted via X or IG was necessarily accurate. It could have been isolated cases, but it does sound like this was awful. Do you do many events, Luke? And did you hear about this? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I saw. There's a video floating online I saw of Shooty doing the photo shoot, and everyone is with him for one shot done. The fans are just getting farmed through like cattle, essentially. I thought it was really bad organisation. I heard a couple of other things as well that happened with Millie, which was a little bit concerning. But yeah, it just looked an absolute shambles as well. If you're paying 400 quid for a gold pass or diamond pass, sorry, essentially, I was like, it's a bit mad. Yeah, and the photos as well, you can see there's, you at least want a couple of, oh, hi mate, oh thanks, I did the I did the Monopoly one, the sci-fi show recently in Manchester last year with Chris Eccleston and Billy, when Chris was on stage and he was like, sack Russell T Davis.
He got a bit crusty, didn't he?
Yeah, but I did the photo shoot with them, and they were great, and they were very, very courteous with their time as well. And I know Chris made more time for fans at sign-ins and stuff, and they, the photo shoot was quick, but it looks like a really bad family portrait, the three of us as well. It's the most bizarre thing. But they had a couple of seconds and they said, oh, thanks for being a fan, and had a chat, and that's what you want. But when the video of Shooty come out, it just looked like everyone was just getting boom, one click done, one click done, one click done, like literally that fast. And you can see they're trying to it's a money making scheme at the end of the day, isn't it? And you can see they're trying to get their money's worth. I don't think fan sympathy is there. They don't care at the end of the day. So
I mean, you do wonder what Shooty Gato's experience was. He shared this on social media, and that's a wrap on Winter London Comic Con. Heart is very full after spending 2 days in a room full of Whovians. Thank you all, and a little heart there. So it's clear he either didn't have as bad an experience as a lot of the punters did, or he's putting on a bravish face. I don't know, but
he probably quite enjoyed it, because I've said this, Shooty's hardly done any face-to-face anything with fans. I do not understand. It seems to be a strategy with him. That it's almost like they think he's a porcelain little doll and they have to protect him and he can't go out in the big wide world. And it's just, I just think he needs to be out doing more of these things. And it does sound like a lot of this was
there you
a
go.
lot of it was the fault of the organisers and the people in charge. But also, I'm sorry, should have Shooty even sort of thought about doing this when he clearly had a very clear, a heavy schedule of rehearsals, when he knew he was going to be in this play at this point? I'm sorry, a bit of me thinks you've got to not fully put the blame on him. I'm not saying that. But I think there should have been somebody, either him or his agent, to think, these sort of events, you need to be able to commit a lot of time.
The official line, Charlotte, was that the reason why they cancelled the talk that Jack mentioned was because Shooty had to go for rehearsals of the importance of being earnest.
Exactly. He clearly had other things on his schedule that day. And I don't blame him for that, because it was that's part of being an actor when he's not
I think it's
filming.
curious, because you're quite right. This is part of being an actor, but it's also part of being professionally engaged to do a couple of things. And I do wonder now, where, say, well, didn't he know? I think he probably did know. Yeah, and what I'm curious about is that really the reason that the talk was cancelled? Or was the talk cancelled because of what happened on the Graham Norton show 5 or 6 weeks ago? And that line of questioning, because we joked about it on this show, somebody's bound to ask him. I think that they didn't want anybody asking a question that would put him in a situation. I think that's a possible.
I think it is as well, because we all said now, Shooty is going to be monitored and watched like no tomorrow because of that Graham Norton interview. Because fans right now want to know about the future of our show. That's to put it bluntly. We want to know, is there a series for it? Is it going to be Shooty as the Doctor? There's these really big questions out in the ether right now. So I found it interesting he was even doing this as soon as those questions were out there.
But he'd already have been booked. I mean, they could have pulled him from the entire thing, but if a lot of people have paid 300 quid, like Jack was saying, is it good enough reason that a guy went on telly and said one thing when we know he actually said another? But somebody would have absolutely have asked him about this in a public place, potentially in front of hundreds of people. I don't know. I think there's more to this. And whilst I don't think that Shooty Gat would have necessarily lied, do I think his management lied? Do I think the BBC might have put a little pressure on? I can see why they would. I don't think it's necessarily unreasonable, but that could have had a knock-on effect on the people who paid for the product.
Oh, it could have. And also you've got to put the thing of he's the Doctor that's probably charged the most for any autograph for any of these events. And he's also in that same instance saying, I can't do one day, I have to leave early, I have to cancel on fans. And I just think, like I said, my top and tail is because some people who watch the show were sending me these things saying, oh, have you heard about this? Have you heard about this? So I heard the second-hand accounts as well. And I just thought, and then my sort of last thought was, God, does the show need any more own goals right now? Does the show need any more bad press?
It does seem wherever they go and whatever they do, there's bad press that comes off it. And it's it's kind of past a laughing matter in many respects. And people in the live chat are shocked at this. They're shocked at the prices even after a few months, and shocked at the treatment. I mean, Jack, you're not the kind of person who would throw your toys out the pram easily. You're fairly moderate, and you're very polite with people. You're not unreasonable in your expectations. So if you say it's a shit show, it clearly didn't ruin your day as such. But I can tell by the look on your face, you're frustrated even after a few days.
Yeah, I think like the hard thing as well, because obviously it could have gotten quite dangerous. Like the way people were shoving and stuff, like it got bad. Like it really got bad. But also there were like, when they cut off the queue, I remember there was like a couple of like kids that were waiting to queue up, and they burst into tears.
Oh God!
Oh Christ,
and
that's terrible.
One of them, if I recall, was in like one of Shooty's
oh no
outfits as well. So like they were clearly ready to see perhaps their doctor, and this change of plan certainly had an impact as well.
He shouldn't have done it. I'm sorry. He should not have committed to this.
Yeah. I honestly, change of plans happen and stuff, but like he would have known that around this time that he was doing the play, and that he should have been able to accommodate for that change of plan. But, even taking that into account, probably should have cancelled Saturday and just gone to Sunday. That's what he should have done. Cancelled his appearance on Saturday, because he was there up until closing, I think, on Sunday. So he was there for the whole day.
The more I hear about this, the worse it seems. Stephen Braddock says, I stopped going to Showmaster events because the last one I went to was as chaotic and angry as Jack's experience. I was told to come back on Sunday, which I couldn't do.
Because this is the thing as well. I've heard in the past that Showmasters have done similar things before with other guests. This is my first bad experience with them, by the way. I've generally had, decent experience when it comes to autographs, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's been all good. But I first heard, I think it was Jodie's first ever Comic-Con. And wasn't she? Yeah, she was pregnant, I think, when she did her first one. I think she was like 6 months.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
And apparently they had a similar situation where they had oversold her tickets or hadn't planned for as many people to buy them, and they struggled to manage the queues, and there were people left disappointed. And then there was Joseph Quinn from Stranger Things. I think he's in the new Fantastic Four film as well.
Oh,
he had the whole thing as well, where the tickets weren't sorted out properly and the queuing system wasn't managed, and that led to people being left disappointed as well.
A lot of people were complaining on social media. It sounds like with good reason. It's just a couple of them. Doctor Who positivity. God. Doctor Who positivity, bless them. There's so sorry to those who couldn't meet Shooty. Hope you get to meet him one day. So it's clearly a lot of people out there couldn't. And Sarah was actually there, and she said, only way I was going to get a photo with Shooty today, and has taken a picture of herself with just the picture of Shooty behind. And I love how to the distance we see another woman giving an organizer looks like a bit of a hard time. Yeah, as well. So it probably communicates the whole atmosphere. Yeah, apparently Millie Gibson had a bad experience there as well. Nobody actually knows anything cast iron about that, so it's not something I want to speculate. But apparently she did have a regrettable negative experience there of a personal nature, which is obviously, I don't know if we'll get to hear more about that, whether anybody's been spoken to in connection with that. We don't know the details, so I think maybe we shouldn't speculate on that. But obviously, something similar happened with Jenna Coleman a few years ago, and it changed. It seemed to have an effect on her. So that would be a pity if that happened. It just all adds to the kind of car crash of this. The Doc MD74 says, that's why I don't like these big things when you pay a lot of money for a rushed experience. Hello and goodbye, all in one breath. I think if people know what they're getting, you get what you pay for. But if people have their eyes wide open, Anthony, then they're adults. It's their money. I think it's okay. It's not for me either, but who am I to tell people how to spend their money,
Yeah, I feel this. I feel the same, Dan. I was just reflecting when I was listening to Jack talking about the event, and I was just thinking again how I always do on this show is I kind of project backwards, back to how it was. And I when I first went to Doctor Who events back in the early 80s, that this is a phenomena, for me. I listen about people, having a photo taken and queuing and paying £300 for a diamond pass, which I've done in the past as well. But because of the whole experience of Comic-Con, as Jack describes, the queues and the push-in, it's just not for me. But back in the day, back in the 80s, it just seemed to be very different, fans' approach to meeting the new Doctor. There wasn't this kind of you want your photo taken. It was an autograph was good enough. So when I hear about photographs, being taken with doctors and companions, and I've become that person too. It wasn't always like that. I can remember John Pertwee in a Panopticon in 1985, with a fag on. Oh, could you sign this for me? Hang on, my darling. Hang on, 2 minutes. Is it 2? And sign it, and then back with the fag and carry on. It was that world. It was, cigarettes. Pertwee was the worst one. For cigarettes on panels. It was that,
really.
It seemed very different, a different Doctor Who to these kind of massive events, like San Diego Comic-Con, massive Doctor Who events. I get it, but I don't get it, but I'm part of it too. I've fallen for it too.
Yeah, it is. There's nothing wrong with wanting to meet your heroes and to just have a moment. And you did have a moment, Jack, and you've been kind enough to let us show your pictures from the day. Here you are with the Doctor, with Shooty.
Yep.
How was that? Did he say much?
Shook hands with him a couple times. That was kind of it.
Yeah.
Really. It was. The photos generally aren't your best ways to speak to them. For a while, but I've had longer conversations with, anyone in those photos. To be fair, literally it was one in, one out sort of thing. It was pretty much I was the fourth away from the cutoff point, so by then they were literally just trying to even get rid of you before the bloody photo was taken. So because
you met Millie as well there.
You what? Sorry.
You met Millie as well.
Yeah, I did. I met Millie again. She was lovely as well. You could kind of tell it was a very stressful event for them both. Bear in mind she was there for both days to the full. But I imagine because the schedule, they fell behind massively with the photos as well, because they didn't realize how much tickets they sold again. So there was a big delay when it came to Millie's final one. And there was still a massive amount of people waiting to be seen. So I think she might have had to stay a little bit longer than what she was told to do. So I can understand why she probably felt a bit tired, bless her.
There were complaints too about Shooty not signing his full name and not doing dedications. People who pay to have things signed, such as this steelbook, simply got the name Shooty. 15 a kiss hug, I think that is in modern parlance. It's not much, is it? I mean, who am I to criticise somebody's handwriting? But it is what it is, I suppose.
Again, those limits with the autographs were probably done to try and get people through quickly, which again is wrong because when you book them, you're not told of those restrictions. So it does kind of feel a bit of a cop-out. And to be honest, I think when it comes to autographs anyway, I think the personalization's kind of removed from the value, if that makes sense. Because when people go and try and buy autographs later on, they just want the actor's autographs, they don't want Jack or whoever, they just want the autograph. So I'm a bit surprised on that, but it's a bit of a shame.
It's nice to see some pictures of this old pro doing his thing, though, Colin Baker.
Oh, yeah, Colin Baker. What? Lovely, man. Lovely.
All smiles, pressing the flesh, there, trying to flog a few photos, no doubt. You know, you gotta love the old war horse, haven't you, Luke? Look at him in his element, isn't he? In his element.
Yeah, I met him last year. I say I never do cons, and then I rattle off all these cons that I've done. Yeah, I met him last year at Cardiff Film and Comic Con as well, which I think was Showmasters. I'm not sure. But yeah, he was great then. He's very, very courteous with his time, and I know he speaks with people as well, so you can tell he's a lot warmer to the show now, especially because of Big Finish, essentially. So yeah, all power to him. Like what an incredible human being.
Yeah, he's like 81.
He's also. I just watched a film with him in actually.
Really?
Secrets of a Wallaby Boy, where he plays an AI kangaroo delivery boy, which also stars Brandon from Hooligans. Funnily enough, so yeah, Colin Baker has just been circling me for the past. That sounds weird. Yeah, Colin Baker's been on my radar for the past year essentially. But yeah,
when you say
every
somebody's
interaction-
circling you, it sounds like your contestants on Strictly Come Dancing.
Yeah, well, we're going for a scrap outside in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
No, like even Brandon. I know Brandon was sharing a story that when they first met, he's Brandon's favorite doctor, and Brandon didn't let on that he was a Doctor Who fan, and Colin was his doctor, and he was like, "Oh, I've got this Dalek behind me," and blah blah blah, and Brandon was like, "Oh, right, cool, nice." He just completely played a stone face, but inside he was like, "Oh my god, it's Colin." So,
Colin's
funny.
old crewmate, I suppose you could say. Bonnie Langford got to meet with Millie Gibson as well there in this picture that Millie Gibson shared on Instagram, and it said, "Got to see beautiful Bon Bon." That's again lovely picture. And Bonnie Langford got to meet up again with Andrew Cartmell and Jessica Martin there too. Obviously Andrew Cartmell was the script editor on Doctor Who when from when was it, from about halfway through season 24?
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Yeah, 24, right the way through to the end of the Sylvester McCoy era. So yeah, just by the time Bonnie was about to depart, but yeah, clearly old friends. I would imagine that she's probably crossed paths with Jessica Martin a time or two, as they both do a lot of work on the stage, don't they? Both musical theatre stars is how I would see them. So nice pictures. There are nice pictures from this event. I mean, I particularly like this one of Colin Baker with Shooty and Millie there. I think that's nice too. Yeah.
Definitely.
But yeah, the reports, it would seem that from your account, Jack, that the reports weren't exaggerated and this was a terrible experience. Showmasters have announced their event for next year, 2 events for next year, with just bare bones publicity, as always, on their website. No word on who's going to be there yet. I mean, do you think that they'll probably be receiving a lot of complaints and will simply have to be looking again at the entire thing? Because it's the same venue they've got for next year.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. See, the thing is, again, like they've had complaints before, Shooty. Whilst I do think the Shooty one's definitely been the worst, and quite a few Comic-Con goers that have been going for a long time have said that. I have a feeling, and especially the way they announced the new event, they haven't even put a statement forward or anything like that. They haven't addressed what happened over the weekend. I think they're just going to move forward as normal. And I think they're just going to start announcing guests for this new event. They'll probably start anytime now, to be honest, and it'll just be trying to pretend like it never happened.
Do you think that this might make them not want to book any current Doctor Who stars again? They might go, that will be sort of a way to mitigate this possibly happening. Yeah,
because, I mean, again, looking at Shooty's work schedule, he's probably going to be too busy anyway. Don't know about Millie, because she could be done with Doctor after next season. We don't know.
So could Shooty.
But
so could Shooty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. True. Yeah. So could Shooty, but we don't actually know. Again, what other stars they could bring in. But I don't think they'd do that again because they haven't got the staff there to manage it. Like if they had more staff and had gotten a bigger venue, to be fair, it would have done the world a favour. To be honest.
Yes. Hail Colin Baker, says Ezra Goldstein in the live chat. Colin Baker, what a professional. That's how you do it properly, says Stephen Braddock. Lots of Colin Baker fans here in the live chat. I think Cheryl's still around. Jessica Martin looks different, says Rob Alexander. Different from what? The Doc MD74 says, I sat with Sylvester on an auto table, and it's a fine balance to try and move the line and also give the individual the experience, as it may be their one and only time they get to speak to them. Oh, nobody's saying it's not difficult. I would imagine that it is. Yeah, it's, again, I'm trying not to throw too much blame around, but as you say, Jack, you've had experiences with these people before. You say some of them have been fine, so maybe it could have been a blip. Who knows? Could have been a blip. I don't know. Colin should have had more seasons, says Kess the Drone. Jack, it does seem like it wasn't a washout at all, though, your trip to London, because you did get to go to the Who shop too, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
How did you find that?
Oh, I loved it. It was like, being at like a sweet shop when you're a kid. It was amazing. There were so many things there I just wanted to buy. It was incredible. So many things I wanted to, blow the bank over. Like, it was, it's incredible. So many cool things. But I resisted temptation. I only got a few things. And I'll definitely have to make a return visit for sure.
Excellent stuff. So it wasn't a washout in the end. Thanks for telling us the story, Jack, because it has been absolutely everywhere, and it does seem like Doctor Who as a brand simply can't catch a break at the moment. I don't know where we're going to be this time next year, or who's going to be at that next WinterCon. Heaven only knows. Maybe Ncuti Gatwa will be an ex-Doctor by then. I don't know, but it is a pity that was his first event, and an event so close to the 61st anniversary as well. Let us know what you think in the live chat, your experiences with Showmaster. If you were there too, as Jack was, we'd like to hear your stories as well. Has it put you off going to one now, Charlotte?
Yeah, but not. I've heard like this and generally about the bigger events. So it's just sort of, and I'm not good with massive crowds. I feel claustrophobic just going down a street if it's busy. So yeah, but I think I do want to someday try and meet some more, but I think maybe not at these kind of events.
No, it does seem like
great.
It was the complete sort of opposite.
Right? Yeah, and Katie Manning as well. Her line was massive. Her line was absolutely massive, and she took the time out to talk with everyone individually. And she made so much time because she knew she was very rushed as well. So she made sure that when you would have your autograph with her, you had all her attention, and she was great. Hooverville is a great one, but there are more conventions out there apart from Hooverville, and not just pioneering for them. So yeah, no, absolutely.
Maybe it could be a case, Jack, that if people get overconfident. Rather than think, we've done this X amount of times, it'll take care of itself, or maybe they underestimated how popular. No, let me rephrase that. Maybe they underestimated the demand there would be for a photograph with Ncuti Gatwa and Millie Gibson, for that matter. It's hard to say, isn't it? I suppose it's none of our business, but I think it would be my business if I'd spent 300 sheets to see that guy and not got what I'd paid for, or not got to meet him at all. I don't know if people are being reimbursed. I would imagine that they are. There must be some sort of measure in place for something like that. But yeah, let us know your experience in the live chat by all means in time for Doctor Who Day. Charlotte, you're coming back on Doctor Who Day, aren't you? We're going to see you again in a couple of days' time. But that's it from you for now, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's been lovely to meet you, Luke, and I'll see you guys all on our lovely big show we've got planned on Saturday. So.
Thank you, Charlotte. We'll see you very soon. Good night. It's regrettable for people who were there at the event, the Showmasters event there, Jack. But thanks again for letting us know your experience, warts and all, as we head up to Doctor Who Day. Heaven knows what the Doctor's going to make of his experience there. I know. I hope it doesn't put him off. And I hope that Showmasters do learn from all this accounts, all this bad publicity. We shall have to see, won't we?
This is Lord President Rassilon. Due to the interference of that idiot renegade, the Doctor, the universe is collapsing. Unfortunately, the Time Lords have no answer for this, and I am forced to call upon the services of Type 40 Podcast.
So, one more thing, everybody. As ever, we're rounding things off with a last look at the view screen, our regular eye up your temporal schism in search of the prettiest pictures from out there in the Whoniverse. Who's sniggering? Who's laughing? This is deadly serious, Luke. It's dead serious stuff.
Yes, so that pre-mark one's fantastic. That's fantastic.
So the idea is that we fill up the walls here in our TARDIS with fabulous fan art from out there in the community. It can be digital art, it can be traditional art, it can be cosplay or crafting. Everything is fair game. We want it all up here on the view screen. First of all, it's this one. Luke, you can tell us about this fabulous poster advertising your fabulous film. So what's this?
And there he is, I Made the Time Machine. That's the next film to come out in the I Made series. We're doing 3. We're doing I Made War of the Worlds, I Made the Time Machine, and then we're doing I Made the Invisible Man next year. Currently doing the festival circuit, so we're just in the middle of doing a UK tour, UK and Ireland tour, actually, forgive me. And there's Mr. Carley, the War Doctor himself from Big Finish, donning a lovely tweed bow tie and a moustache. So yeah, that's...
You can tell he's been itching to get at those lapels, hasn't he?
Oh yeah. He very much channels Patrick Troughton in his performance. Bless him. He's very, very good. And the cast are fantastic. They're the same cast that crossover into Hooligans, but that's going to be the trailer's out now. The trailer's out for it, and it should be out around May next year. We're looking to release it. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled on that. The trailer's on the SinScope YouTube page, and then we'll see Hooligans and Time Machine and the Invisible Man come out soon.
Mouth-watering, everybody. Mouth-watering. Whoniverse, says Larry. Yes, we're Whoniverse. Of course we are. Art Time, says Rob Alexander. You bet it is. And next up, we have this piece from Grant Perkins. Now, Grant has been putting together one-off bespoke art cards, which he's been auctioning off for charity. You're going to recognise Grant Perkins' very distinctive art style. I think he's probably one of the most prolific cartoonists and illustrators in Britain at the moment. And of course, he's a massive Doctor Who fan. You'll have seen his work in places like the Phoenix comic and the Beano and Dandy and all those kinds of things over the years and in the big old yearbooks. Massive Doctor Who fan. And this is just one of many designs that he's been publicising, mainly across X, but I think he's on Instagram as well. And he's been tagging us in a few as well. So we appreciate that. We've been resharing where we can. But the one that really caught my eye, the one that made me laugh the most, Grant, was this fabulous picture of the Series 10 cast, sorry. So we've got the Doctor, we've got Bill and Nardole there, and all you really need when it comes to the 12th Doctor is those eyebrows, isn't it, Anthony?
Absolutely. As soon as you flashed that, I'd also seen this image online, Dan, but as soon as you flashed that up on the screen, that whole kind of Doctor and Bill and Nardole combo just seems like a million years ago. Where has that time gone? I'd forgotten all about them until you did that. But this is great, absolutely great. And as you say, the eyebrows and the hair of Capaldi is certainly featuring heavily in this particular image. Yeah, it's great.
It's some people don't appreciate Grant's style, but I've always really liked it. And I mean, what you were saying about this time in Doctor Who, it was just for 3 months. When was it now? Like 7.5 years ago. So it's quite a short period of time in the grand scheme of things, but it's so distinctive. And I thought the chemistry between the three of them was just really, really nice. I loved that dynamic in that season. So to have it sort of encapsulated so beautifully by Grant here, Jack. Do you remember that time?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that season, that series was brilliant. It really was. Like the chemistry between those three, like even the weaker stories in that series, like those three, and then also like Michelle Gomez as well, like really carried it for me. And to be honest, I would have gladly seen them for another series together or something. Like,
easily. In fact, now you've said that, Michelle Gomez was pretty much a member of the full cast wasn't she? As much as I love Jenna Coleman, and I really did love Jenna Coleman, she probably did stay a season too long. I think if we'd have had 2 series of this cast, would have probably been ideal. Series 10 is my favourite. New Who, confesses Crimpling the Balloon. Great art. Stephen Braddock likes the picture. It's very eye-catching. And Rob says, I like that a lot, and he loves Series 10 as well. So I think that people have got more fond of this run over time, Luke. I mean, where do you stand with this cast? Because Matt Lucas is somebody, I can either take him or leave him. And when I heard they were bringing that character in full time, I thought, oh no, really? You're going to stretch that joke out to a full series? But in the end, I ended up really liking it. And I do sort of miss these characters now they're not around.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. I think the Capaldi's Doctor is so hit and miss at times. I think when he first came in, he was the "Am I a good man?" arc, and he's a little bit sterner, a little bit more darker. Then obviously they do a complete 180, and then the first time you see him in season 9, he's riding a tank playing a guitar. I think I don't think tonally they knew where to go with him. I think they were having a little bit of backlash. They tried doing the Matt Smith thing in season 9. They tried a little bit darker with season 8. I think he hit his stride in season 10. I think he really found it.
Sweet spot.
And I think he found it, and I think he could have kept that going as well. And I heard he wanted to. But yeah, I thought that was great as well. And I think the one scene that encapsulates it for me is when they're on the battlefield in Twice Upon a Time, right at the end, as they're saying their goodbye, and he's like, I can hold you all in glass. My memories would chatter you. And it's just them 3 playing off as just before he goes off and regenerates. I think the chemistry between them is unbridled. And World Enough in Time is one of the best episodes Doctor ever made. So yeah, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Those 3 were fantastic.
And with the snowfall behind them as well. Not only is it perfect for tonight, certainly the snow is falling outside my window now as I speak, but obviously we're in sight of another Christmas season. So it's really, really nice stuff. Bit of a wintry theme to all of the pictures, in fact, this time. Next up is this one from Lee Binding, the guy behind the fabulous packaging, not just on the Doctor Who releases now, the official collection on Blu-ray, but he also does all the packaging and the booklets and everything inside the Blake 7 Blu-rays too. This is the 4th Doctor returning to Telos, Anthony. So you can see in the background there's the ice tombs from Tomb of the Cybermen, but the Cybermen that are actually about to accost him are the ones that feature in Revenge of the Cybermen, aren't they?
Yeah, they absolutely are. Well, this is talking Doctor Who to me. Often on Twitter, I suddenly find a picture or a toy or a piece of merchandise or something that reminds me of my childhood and about Doctor Who. So seeing Tom Baker in that particular outfit with those particular Cybermen, and then Lee Binding has kind of put a little slice of Tomb of the Cybermen in there as well. This speaks Doctor Who volumes to me. So now suddenly you're talking my language. So great. Do you know where this is going, Dan?
This is just a piece of art that he's produced out of love for the era, for Doctor Who, and maybe for Doctor Who Day, I don't know, but I like the fact that the Doctor has the TARDIS key on the chain around his neck that we see in that series. I like how he's holding the Sonic. The only thing that he hasn't got is the yo-yo. Maybe that would have been overdoing it.
Too many things, too many
trinkets.
Yeah.
There's a Cybermat at his feet as well.
These Cybermen come up for a lot of stick, don't they? But when I think of a Cyberman, I think of these, and I think of the invasion type.
The invasion for me, yeah. I think that these are the ones that get stick because they're wearing flares, and there's nothing more 1975, 74, 75 than flares.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, these talk Cybermen to me, and invasion the same. So. Yeah, when they were redesigned for Earthshock, they, for me, they look completely different. It's the same but different. But this is good, different, and I love Lee Binding's work. For the collection, it really is inspired. Each one of those sets, how he engineers those covers. It's just joyous every time. Look forward to the next connection announcement soon, I would hope. But
I think we can't be too far away from that, can we?
I think we've kind of put our finger on it already, Dan, when we were talking about it before, with the colours that Lee Binding had speculated upon
a few weeks ago
on Twitter, on X. So yeah, this is one of my favourite Cybermen designs, with one of my favourite Doctors.
Philip Roy agrees, practically word for word, and yeah, he notices the flares as well. Good to see you, Phil. Love the blue, says Peter Harrington, cold and emotionless. And Stephen Braddock is also a fan of Lee Binding's art. It's jaw-dropping, and this is pure love for Tom Baker's era. Wow, superb, says Crimpling Doubloon. And fantastic, says Ezra Goldstein. It's so superb and beautiful. Again from Peter. This Doctor Who on Hoth, says Lee Smith. And yeah, Rob says it's in a class of its own. It's got this artwork. Larry says K9. Okay, it's slightly too early for K9. Larry, I'm afraid to say, but putting a request to Lee, I'm sure he's got some art with K9 somewhere out there, maybe. I don't know. Busy guy, obviously Lee Binding. All those Blu-ray sets, book covers too, and then to create artwork like that just for the hell of it, you have to really love Doctor Who, haven't you, Luke? To do it in your spare time as well.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I distinctly know the feeling. But no, fair play to him. He's obviously very, very talented and very knowledgeable in his craft. So all power to him. The work he's producing is incredible, absolutely incredible. So long may it continue.
We're very lucky to have the collection on Blu-ray, aren't we? And it's not just the attention, not just the fact the episodes look better than ever, but the fact that everything about them is done with so much affection and skill.
Yeah, and the amount of bonus features as well, like the documentaries and the interviews, it's perfect.
And the escape rooms are the best thing ever. Oh my
you
God.
like those? They leave me cold, those. But again, that's another thing I like about these sets. There is something on there for everybody. Simon Horton on the show, he can't stand behind the sofa. I love that. The idea, but there's something for everybody on those sets.
Yeah, absolutely love it. Peter Purves doing an escape room is just the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
Honestly, the most frustrating hour and a half I've ever lived through. Oh my goodness! Oh, wow.
Me and John Carley watched it with a bottle of wine and a bottle of whiskey. I think we were finished by the time we got through it. It was like, oh my God, so funny.
My favourite part on the collection box sets are the studio recordings because they're so insightful, getting to watch them making Doctor Who. Although I did hear a comment on X this week about, apparently the cast and crew or some aspects of the cast and crew are unhappy, of these studio recordings making their way to the collection because it shows them at work. Which I understand that we love it.
I can see why they would. I'd assumed that they'd sort of got their permission and that everybody would have signed off on them, but I can see why.
Apparently not. So some who these people are, I know not. Who are these quarters, I know not. But it was a conversation that popped up on X this week about some people are unhappy that they appear, which I guess you weren't expected to watch being recorded, whilst you were at work, and then everybody else watching them years later. Yeah, I guess I get that. But they're my favourite bit. So quickly get,
but keep doing it.
Quickly get series 21 out before anybody complains, because there's plenty of studio recordings there that we haven't got. So yeah, quick.
Tom from T-Dwarf Productions says, I'm planning to do a monster Christmas artwork. Well, I can't wait to see that, Tom. You've got to make sure you send it our way, get it on the show. Until then, we've got some more artwork to look at. Finally, this one is from the writer, Paul Mars. Paul's been writing Doctor Who books, I think, for 20 years now. Books and audio dramas, come to think of it. An accomplished, well thought of writer in and outside of Doctor Who. He's also an artist as well, with a very distinctive style. And this is one of his latest works this week, of a very wintry weeping angel. I really like this.
Very terrifying.
Yeah, it's slightly too late for Halloween, Jack, but this really caught my eye. And he's very experimental with his artwork, Paul. I think he'd be the first to admit he just tries a lot of things, and some things don't work and some things do. But for me, this really, really works. It sort of captures something about that particular monster, and the way that watching Blink and stories like that makes you kind of feel like slightly uncertain. There's something of the Blair Witch about it too.
You know what? This kind of reminds me of, like, if this were ever to happen as like a crossover, maybe for like an episode or something. If like Doctor Who was put under like a visual filter in the style of the Take On Me music video, and like flicking through like a notepad and stuff, you just see a weeping angel slowly like moving about. It's really cool.
It's got a lot of fans out there, Paul, not least of all the time scales here, and our friend Nikki P. Small is a huge fan of Paul's work. I would want that on my wall. So says Crippling Doubloon, it's too scary. It's different, says Matthew Pounder. Yeah, it's very distinctive style. Cheryl says, wow, I love that. But Larry cautions, missed out a Larry on you there, Larry. Don't look away. Stephen Braddock says it's got a very Tim Burton look to the angel, and it works. Yes, I can see that, Luke. I can.
Yeah, it's very German expressionism. Like, it's scarier than the Weeping Angels have been in a series recently. So fair play.
Yeah, nice stuff. It's going to give Peter Harrington nightmares. Yeah, go. You speak to Paul about that. Don't speak to us. We can't be held responsible for any nightmares that one may or may not have. But we do want more fan art up on the wall, whether it's scary or not. We just like to see it. Publicise the work of fabulous Doctor Who fan artists from the community, whether it's traditional art such as Paul's or digital artwork like Lee's. Get it up on these walls. Look at these walls, huge and grey. Massive. Oh, no, we need to fill them up with as much fan art as we possibly can. So send us its way or it our way. We don't care how it happens, just that it does happen and we get it all here. You can contact us through our social media, Instagram and X at Type 40 Doctor Who too, if you are a fan artist, or tell us about your favourite fan artist. If that's too much, if too much of a rigmarole, you can go the other route, cut out the middleman and get us in the Type 40 Facebook group over there on Facebook. I'm not saying that all of these guys are members of the Type 40 Facebook group, but one or two of them maybe. One of them, two, three of them, two, some of them maybe. The only way you'll find out for certain is if you connect with us over there on Facebook, our long-standing Facebook group, Regenerations Worth upon Regenerations Worth of Doctor Who fans, all talking about classic Doctor Who, new Doctor Who, and kind of anticipating the Christmas special, sort of. Some of us. Well, yeah, we are. Trust us. You want to subscribe to SinScope, our friend Luke here and his colleagues on their channel, as they're about to premiere Hooligans in just a couple of days' time with episode 1 for Doctor Who Day itself. Give them the pitch again, Luke.
So Hooligans is a 6-part web series that focuses on two Doctor Who fans living in a flat. Imagine Friends crossed with the Five-ish Doctors. It's the best way I can describe it.
There you go. That's not a hook I don't know what is. Thanks for your company, Luke. I do hope you've enjoyed it. Our ramble.
Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed
the Doctor Who universe this week. We've done some griping, but we've done some laughing as well, haven't we?
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. Thank you for having me on.
And your link is in the description as well. So the people who may be in two minds about how they can spell SinScope, we've cut out the middleman there. So just hit the link in the description and get notified, ready for Saturday. I've got some more comments. I think we have. Oh, they're from you. Oh, thank you. Oh, it's our pleasure.
Yeah, so someone said they just subscribed, so I said thanks.
Lots of recommendations from Crimpling Doubloon, as always, in the live chat about where you can find Doctor Who actors, luminaries in other shows and movies across cable TV. He does sterling work on all that. Thank you, Crimpling Doubloon. And we've got questions. Don't blink, Peter, says Matthew Pounder. Oh well, don't blink, Peter Harrington. I think it's directly to you. But yeah, that wraps it up. Again, Anthony, it's great to have you back.
Oh, it's Lovely. Yeah, thank you. It was lovely to be back. It was great to hear what Jack was saying about Comic-Con. It kind of confirmed everything I thought and probably puts me off from doing in the future. But it was great to hear about that, and great to hear from Luke and the project that's coming up. Yeah, great show, Dan. I enjoyed it much.
Well, yeah, have to get you back on again in the next week or two as we do the countdown to Christmas. You haven't been with us on the Christmas shows before, so it's quite the experience.
Just leave it there, Dan. I look forward to it. Just leave it there.
Oh God, where will we be going? Where will we be going next, everybody? That's the question. Yes, so Christmas is nearly upon us with our Type 40 live Christmas show as ever. This will be our 4th Christmas, believe it or not. All of those shows are available to watch, along with our Doctor Who Day specials in the playlists there with all the live streams. So there's our Doctor Who Podcast Day episode there, number 175, with Ken Deep, Toby Haydock, and Mark Who 42, sorry. 72? Mark, I'm thinking of 72 yards, aren't I? Yes. Do it again, Dan. Mark Who 42, Ken Deep and Toby Haydock came on for Doctor Who Podcast Day. That was a laugh. We ran wild at Hooverville there. But we weren't hungover like Luke, but we ran wild anyway and bumped into Wendy Padbury and assorted other people from Doctor Who. That was a good laugh. We smashed Summer. If you want to warm yourself up, go back and watch our Summer special from a few months ago. And there's regular weekly editions of this show too, all ready to relive till your hearts are content, everybody, as well as the Teleport Blake 7 show too. Don't forget that if you're a Blake 7 fan, and let us know what you think. If you want more Blake 7, this could be the place. This could be the place for you. So yeah, we are getting ready to crank off again, but we couldn't possibly leave you to your own devices when Doctor Who Day itself is close at hand. So due to popular demand, in less than 48 hours' time, we're going to be back with the next Type 40 Live. It is our 4th Doctor Who Day special, so we'll be here, same time and space, everybody. But that's it for this one. Let us know what you think of it all in the comments. I think we need a wintry one, don't we? Because the autumn seems like a distant memory, Jack. But yes, keep warm. We'll speak to you all on the next one. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.